ProBox TV crosses the Atlantic to present their first ever event in Europe. SEC Arena in Belfast, Northern Ireland is the venue for this historic night of boxing. Where Irish, English, and United Kingdom fighters will fight the best from Colombia, the Dominican Republic, and Mexico. In the main event, Padraig McCrory with 18 victories, 9 by way of knockout.
Just under 2 minutes of the first.
Takes on Leonard Carrillo from Colombia with 17 victories, 16 of them by knockout. And in our co-main event, a battle of wills. Action, action, and more action. Robbie Davies Jr., 23 wins and 15 by knockout, takes on the ex-world champion Javier Fortuna from the Dominican Republic with 27 of his 38 wins coming by knockout. This battle promises to bring out the best in both fighters. ProBox TV continues its growth live from Belfast, Northern Ireland. It's the Contender Series on ProBox TV, your boxing channel.
The sharpest that we've seen Javier Fortuna quite some time.
Welcome, ProBox fans. That's right, we are in lovely Belfast, Northern Ireland. Got our passport stamp, a city with a rich tradition in boxing. Will we add some names to that list tonight? And will Irish Eyes be smiling after a stacked card here on ProBox TV? It's Matty Borland versus Callum Turnbull. Borland at 3-0, but a big step up against the slick southpaw in Turnbull, who has a lot more experience. Rudy Farrell versus Kerr. The first time they fought, it was for that Celtic championship. Now the British championship is on the line. Kerr says it's going to be a different outcome this time. Farrell says I'm going to put on a boxing clinic. Our co-main event, Robbie Davies Jr. versus Javier Fortuna. Fortuna, the former two-division world champion. Robbie Davies Jr. went to war last time here on ProBox TV. And our main event, Padraig McCrory versus Leonard Carrillo. Carrillo has knocked out 16 of 17 in his wins. McCrory coming off the biggest fight of his life. Can he rebound in the comfy confines here at the SSE Arena? Welcome everyone inside the SSE Arena. Jimmy Smith alongside the champs, Chris Algieri, Paulie Malignaggi. Chris, you know about our main event. It's the puncher versus the guy who's been against the higher level opposition, but it's no cakewalk tonight.
No, not at all. Carrillo's a very dangerous guy. He can punch with both hands. He's especially dangerous early on. So if Padraig is not over that Borland defeat in his last fight, that could spell trouble for him early on in this fight.
Yeah, it's great the way you said that. Is it about the mental tonight? He said the moment kind of got to me against Borland. I didn't fight at my best. Is he more comfortable here?
You know, he's saying the right things, but you don't know about that PTSD post-knockout loss until you're back in the ring, you know? And, you know, sometimes he would say, coming off a knockout loss, you go in with such a puncher like Carrillo. Well, you know what? McCrory doesn't have a lot of time to waste in his career. He's got to jump right back in the fast lane. And Carrillo is the kind of guy that if he's able to get past him, say, okay, I'm gotten over these demons in my mind about getting stopped, about fighting punchers. The Borland fight is behind me. I got a good win here. I can move on to bigger and better things. So he's looking to get right back on track.
Very pro-box thing to do. He's not getting a softball, getting a very tough fight. Well, speaking of that, in our co-main event, Robbie Davies Jr. versus Javier Fortuna. Paulie, this fight kind of defies boxing gravity, right? You give the former faded champion, you give him to an up-and-comer. These are two grizzled veterans in the co-main event.
They sure are. You know, Fortuna, a former world champion. Davies has sort of been a hard-luck guy who's been a fringe contender the whole time, but he's given great fights. We had him on ProBox TV in one of the best fights of the year against Sergey Lipinets. Rock'em sock'em. Check that fight out in your own spare time on the ProBox TV app, by the way. But you know what I'm saying right now is this is the same kind of situation he's in again. You got Fortuna, who is a grizzled ex-world champion, and Davies, again, knowing how to take on this kind of guy. He's able to get past this guy the way he's able to get past Lipinets. Maybe a little bit easier. You know, he can set himself up possibly in the title picture. You don't know. It's a stacked title picture in that weight class, but nonetheless, Davies makes fun fights. We'll see what Fortuna has left.
Yeah, that's the question, Chris. We've called Fortuna fights early in his career, PBC. It's one of those things where he was nice back in the day. Very hard to hit, very slick, very tricky. Will we see that again tonight? That's the question.
Fortuna in his heyday was a bad dude. I mean, two-time two-division world champion for a reason. You know, depending on how much he has left, even at this stage of his career, even in his twilight, he's a very tricky guy. if he gets his feet underneath him, gets comfortable in there, he can make this a very, very rough night for Robbie Davies Jr. once again, because he's coming off a really tough fight against Sergey Lipinets, like you said.
Can you hear the crowd chanting inside SSC Arena? Well, get used to that tonight. Have a lot of local talent looking to make their name in front of the hometown crowd. We start out, well, of course, with Matthew Borland, 3-0 versus Callum Turnbull. Look at the age is the same height, same weight, reach, barely a difference, a 1 inch advantage. This could be, to start out tonight, a very, very close fight. The question for a lot of these fighters, Borland included, is how do you handle being at home? A lot of fighters don't like it, they don't like to pressure, they don't like selling tickets, they don't like being around their normal environment. They have to deal with a lot of pressure here at SSC Arena.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the SSC Arena in beautiful Belfast, Northern Ireland. And a great big welcome to everyone here and all of our fans joining us on ProBox TV, your boxing channel. Download the app and stream along with our commentators, the best team in boxing. Jimmy Smith with the former world champions, Chris Algieri, the fighting collegiate, and Paulie Malignaggi, the Magic Man. We are ready to get things underway with an evening of professional boxing brought to you by ProBox Promotions in partnership with Conlon Boxing. Presented by Sports Betting AG, your best odds for sports betting online. And that prize guy giving you the chance to win incredible prizes at a bargain. Ladies and gentlemen, next up, let's welcome our fighters to the ring. Starting off in the red corner from Inverness, Scotland. Give it up for Callum Titanium Turnbull.
A knockout. Scotland.
And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner from Coleraine, Northern Ireland. Give it up for Matty Bam Bam Borland.
How great it is to be 3-0 and in front of your hometown crowd. But Matthew Borland has a very tough fight in front of him. The young man from Ireland, Callum Turnbull, he's tricky, he's a southpaw, he's been in there with some tough guys, he's fought some tough fights against also undefeated talent. We talk about it all the time. It's extremely difficult to get in there against undefeated fighters. Unless you've done it before, unless it's part of your resume, it is certainly part of Turnbull's resume.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get this fight underway. This fight is scheduled for 8 rounds in the super bantamweight division. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the red corner. He wears the white and gold trunks, weighing in at 121.2 pounds. His record, 5 wins, 3 losses with 1 win by knockout. From Inverness, Scotland, give it up for Callum Titanium Turnbull. And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner on my right. He wears the blue and white trunks. He weighed in at 122.2 pounds. He is undefeated. His record, 3 professional victories with 1 by knockout. From Coleraine, Northern Ireland. Give it up for Matty Bam Bam Borland. And here to give instructions, your referee, Eamon McGill.
Gentlemen, I want a good, clean fight. Watch shots behind the heads and protect yourselves at all times. Any questions? Touch gloves.
We are underway. Our first fight of the night on ProBox TV. It is Borland on your left, taking on Callum Turnbull. He is in the gold and white. Borland in the white and blue.
Jimmy, you alluded to it earlier. This is the kind of fight you have to look past the numbers, like a traditional ProBox TV matchup. You look at the 3-0 guy undefeated, fighting someone against 5-3. You're thinking, okay, yeah, the undefeated guy's the guy who's got more experience should win this fight, but not necessarily. You got to look at past those numbers. Those 3 losses, all to undefeated fighters for Turnbull. On top of that, he's a southpaw. Very, very tricky guy in there.
And that's why he's so aggressive, man. He's confident. He doesn't mind beating in with the undefeated guys. He's already seen these kind of guys, and he knows how to be aggressive against them. He's undaunted.
And also, those fights were not wipeouts. He was competitive in all of those losses.
Not to mention, he's been 10 rounds before. One of those fights, I think his first loss, he was fighting undefeated fighter, and he went the full 10-round distance.
And if you look at Borland, one of the things about his style is very European. I was about to say very European. His head very, very high, stands very tall. Paul, you talk about the Soviet style. The European style, really tall. That's part of his style.
Yeah, a lot of, especially a lot of that Western European, they have that in and out bounce and staying up tall.
Very, very high, very easy to hit.
Yeah, you got to time you're out when you fight that style.
Turnbull's been very tricky with that left hand, dipping his head off line, throwing it right down the center and cracking his opponent a few times early in this first round.
That's another thing about Turnbull, man. He's a southpaw as well, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Difficult guy, not a stellar record, but has been in tough and knows how to fight tough. And on top of it, he's a southpaw. Nice little short uppercut there, guys.
Likes to fight inside as well. You can see that here. Turnbull bowling his way inside, but good body shots from Borland.
Yeah, I was talking about the tricky left hands of Turnbull. Borland has been very tricky with that right uppercut. Landed a couple good shots on the southpaw here early on round 1.
Chris, that might be a theme tonight. We were talking about on the way here. You're like, guys that can hurt you with both hands from that southpaw stance, pretty rare. They tend to rely on the left. Hurt you with both hands. Turnbull does throw with both hands.
Yeah, he throws with both hands. Definitely looking for the left hand. He's a little more tricky with that punch. You see him, he fights with that lead hand down. But as you said, Champ, early on, he's very confident. You can see in the way he moves, his body language.
A little short uppercut again there from Borland, guys.
Uppercut from Borland. The hook on the way back from Turnbull. Turnbull fighting out of Inverness, Scotland. Nice left hand.
Set it up with a nice jab and then hook off that jab, then the left hand down the middle. Nice deceptive shot with that left hand.
Chris, you talk about
good back and forth action,
having
guys.
more experience with longer fights. Could be trying to make the young buck 3-0 spend a lot of energy early as we end round number 1. Welcome back. We're inside the corner of Matthew Borland, 3-0 here in Northern Ireland. This is how round number 1 went.
Yeah, some good back and forth action between these two guys. You have the more experienced Turnbull, real tricky and deceptive with that left hand coming off that backside. But Borland, man, that uppercut, that was a really nice weapon against the southpaw that he fired off a few times, able to pop up the head of Turnbull like a Pez dispenser a few times in that round.
And definitely aggressive was Turnbull. Do you think maybe he's trying to get Borland to fight at a higher pace? Because he's the veteran guy who's been longer rounds.
Yeah, I mean, this is Borland's first 8-rounder, and Turnbull's been 10 before.
See Borland a little bit more flat-footed and a little bit slower on his feet than Turnbull. Turnbull, you see him trying to fly in and fly out, but at times, Borland, you know, you can still fight well if you're Borland. You can time that in and out of Turnbull. But right now, Turnbull landing some good shots on the inside.
He's tricky with that left hand, man. He gets his head off line and just throws.
I don't see feints on the way in. You know, he's got good legs. So Borland's gonna have to, counteract that. It doesn't seem like his legs are as quick as Turnbull, but he can try to get the timing down and catch him coming or catch him going back out.
Turnbull, he's got that high position jab, but as he moves out to his right, he does that. So he's not susceptible to getting countered like a lot of guys who stay too tall. There it is again.
Oh, it's been uppercut versus hook throughout this fight. Turnbull, good hooks. Borland, for his part, done well with some uppercuts right down the center. Both fighters trying to catch the other coming in. Paul, you talk about coming in through the front door. Seems like that's how these guys are fighting.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why I like that Turnbull does feint on the way in at times. It's gotta be the thing that he uses. Otherwise, Borland will be able to try to throw with him and time him. See there, Borland gets him on the way out. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier as well.
Oh,
gotta catch Borland coming in or coming out. Good little left hook. I mean, gotta catch Turnbull coming in and coming out. A good left hand there by Turnbull, as you just said, champ.
yeah. Well, again, it's because Turnbull stays so high. Excuse me, Borland stays so high with those shots, especially on the inside. And it's a little bit of your turn, my turn going on with these two guys. Turnbull a little trickier. He will punch with you, but Borland really just waits for his spot.
And neither guy really breaking the rhythm. Like you said, Chris, your turn, my turn.
Yeah, more and more it's falling into that. But it seems like whoever leads is in control.
Attempted catch and shoot there by Turnbull. Somebody just give it a little bit of something different spice here and try to take a really grip the fight, take advantage of it. Turnbull again with that little short left hook on the inside from the southpaw stance, which is a rare shot from the southpaw.
Really good timing on that shot. Oh, Borland with the right hands.
10 seconds left to go in round number 2. It is Ireland versus Scotland, and so far very, very close. Borland going back to his corner. Fighter out of here in Northern Ireland. 3-0 as a pro. Only had a couple fights as an amateur. Right into the deep end. Gets opponent with 8 pro fights.
Really good back and forth competitive action here in the first 2 rounds. See these guys, these heated exchanges on the inside. It's been basically right hand versus left hand, right? Orthodox versus southpaw. The overhand left, especially that left hook from that southpaw position from Turnbull, has been an effective punch all night long. But Borland, man,
Corners, 10 seconds.
The right hand both with the uppercut and the overhand right, which you saw both of those in that sequence there.
Seconds out. Round 3.
Some instructions from the referee. Don't know exactly. It seems so far a pretty clean fight. But I was about to say neither fighter really establishing the jab well as Borland comes out with a couple jabs.
Yeah, great point, Jimmy. I was going to say that last round. Whoever could kind of separate themselves with that jab could really make a difference here, because right now it's tit for tat.
It seems like both guys are trying to win with their style. Haven't seen a lot of adjustments yet. You've seen Turnbull now giving some little bit of head movement, not as much in and out. Maybe he's trying to conserve energy.
Well, that's one of those next level things, Paulie, in combat sports is, who has the toolkit that has more tools in it. These guys, they have a couple, starting out in their career.
And they do what they do well.
Yeah.
Just, now it's just a matter of making the adjustments. A little counter attempt there from Turnbull on the right hand to the body from Borland. A good shot there from Borland as he brings the right hand back up to the head after having thrown it to the body a second ago. It's going to take his mind off the head shot.
I like how Turnbull, even though he's 5-3, he fights like he's an undefeated fighter.
Yeah.
You see him trying, like you mentioned, both trying to make both their styles work. And Turnbull is like, hey man, I got 3 losses, but my style still works, and I can make it work tonight.
That's ProBox TV for you, man. we get guys here who come to win, man.
Very, very true.
How many times have you fans at home watched ProBox TV and the records don't matter?
Not at all.
It's another one of those fights here, man. Good competitive fight between 2 determined fighters.
And on the other side of that coin, I got to tip my hat to Team Borland for taking on a tough guy like this so early in your career.
Short uppercuts there by Borland. There's that right hook there by Turnbull a second ago, right?
And both fighters kind of looking to counter. We've been pointing out, not a lot of...
Seems like Borland's made a little bit of adjustment here. He's pushing the pace going forward. Oh, nice hook.
Is that wide left hand again from Turnbull? He has not really been missing that shot. Anytime he looks for Borland's got to adjust to it.
And that was the first time that...
Good uppercut.
Good uppercut.
That was
That's the shot that's working for Borland.
Exactly. And saying it from the beginning. Hook versus uppercut.
But I was going to say, in that last exchange where Turnbull landed that big left hook, he came back with the right hook for the first time. That's a good adjustment, building on what is working.
Oh, again, it is again.
Can't miss with that left hand.
It's the wide left hand from the southpaw stance of Turnbull against the short right uppercut of Borland. Those have been the favorite punches of each guy so far. And then those have been the ones that have given us the opening shots.
It's funny you mentioned that neither guy's made an adjustment. That's why they keep getting hit with the same shots back and forth. But it makes for a very entertaining fight.
Good body shot.
Turnbull throws it both on a lead and also on a catch and shoot. A lot of times he'll catch the body shot from Borland and try to come back with it. Close range.
Welcome back inside SSE Arena here in Belfast, Northern Ireland. Here's some of the action.
Yeah, again, both these guys, no one's really taking the lead yet. It's a lot of back and forth action.
Corners, 10
not
seconds.
Jealous of the judges tonight, because this has been a very competitive back and forth affair. But it's really been the right hands of Borland versus the left hands of Turnbull all night long.
So we begin round number 4. Borland establishing a bit more of a jab in the last round. Oh, nice hook over the top from Turnbull.
Jamie, you mentioned the southpaws with right hooks that go with the left hands are extra dangerous. Turnbull's starting to unveil that right hand. And also, because Borland stands so tall, those punches are more obvious and dramatic. So it's going to be more eye-catching to these judges.
You could argue neither man really hurt so far. We haven't seen either one wobbled, but they've been trading power punches from the beginning.
Both guys have been able to hit each other with punches that the other's not seeing. So they are getting buzzed here and there, but no one's been dramatically hurt, like you said.
Well, neither guy known for their knockout power. In 5 wins, Turnbull has 1 knockout. Matthew Borland, none so far in his 3-0 career.
Things are getting closer range now as the legs are getting tired and starting to go a little bit into the trenches at close range. And at close range, they get to go to the body as well, guys.
It's been a rare body shot from both guys.
There's the uppercut again from Borland. Turnbull tried to use it there.
We talk about that tall stance, Paul. It's hard to uppercut somebody who's so tall.
Yep. But at close range, it's all about distance, right? Borland's been able to be effective with the uppercut at close range. He's picked his spots well. And things are getting closer and closer range now. It seems like both guys are starting to show a little bit of fatigue as we approach the halfway point of the fight.
Borland needs to be careful. When he goes down to the body, he still stays very tall, just like that.
Called it.
Exactly like that. He goes down to that with that right hand to the body, but there's zero level change.
And Champ, you mentioned about no adjustments. Turnbull has attempted catch and shoots constantly.
Yes.
When Borland goes to the body. So it's not like Borland shouldn't already be noticing the attempt and going to the body with a little bit of a presence of mind of defense afterwards.
Little low blow there from Turnbull.
Yeah, with the left hook on top of it.
Oh, that's countered there.
Good timing shot there as Turnbull fell in. Turnbull at times will get excited and fall in a little bit and give Borland those opportunities to time him, as I was saying earlier. There's a chance there for Turnbull, for Borland to time Turnbull on the way out. Good aggression here from Borland.
Acting like he had Turnbull hurt at the end of the round.
Oh, beautifully timed uppercut from Borland.
He loves that punch.
Yeah. It's a tight shot.
Excellent energy from both men in round number 4. It is scheduled for a super bantamweight division. Matthew Borland versus Alan Turnbull. Scotland versus Northern Ireland. They're looking in the corner of the hometown boy, Matthew Borland. Told you guys about calling fights here at SSC Arena, man. They get into it every single fight. First one of the night here on ProBox TV.
And the fans here come early. They want to see the whole card. It's not like you see a lot of fights in the States. So guys show up for the co-main, the main event. Not here in Belfast with these great fans.
The uppercut attempted there from Borland on the inside. Change of angle. Back and forth. Turnbull came right back as well.
Corners, 10 seconds.
Gave Borland a chance to throw those little short uppercuts on the inside.
But again, another hard round to score.
Seconds out.
Like the work
Round
early.
5.
Borland came on strong hand.
And you would imagine with a little bit of the lower style that Turnbull would kind of have his way on the inside, and that hasn't been the case. I think Borland's been doing pretty well with these inside fights.
Oh, good combination there, and a nice shot coming back on defense to offense from Turnbull. It's getting back and forth. This is the champ. This is exactly why it's tough to score.
Yep.
Beautiful hook.
One guy catching shot deserves another, and both guys have been giving and receiving in kind.
You know, at the halfway mark of this 8-round fight, Chris, how much does it matter? Look, I've been through longer fights than you. Is this where it starts kicking in, about halfway through the 8-round fight?
Oh, absolutely. And I think really after round 5, this fight is really going to be decided because it's going to come down to who's got more grit, who's got the better technique down the stretch because of their conditioning. So there's still a lot of fight left here.
Again, that uppercut from Borland, though, nice.
And both guys have landed so many power punches tonight. Any one of these could turn the tide and hurt each other.
Fatigue.
Yeah, it adds up.
Could get hurt.
Sometimes neither guy footwork specialists. That's when you get the best fight. Yeah, they're standing and going.
But also, neither guy being a puncher makes this an entertaining fight because they're not knocking each other out.
I thought Turnbull did his best work when he was in and out. It's just I think he's just gotten tired now, so things are starting to debilitate.
Oh,
nice right hand there.
Beautiful head off line right hand, which is a great weapon against the southpaw. Oh,
how many times have you seen that uppercut to the hook?
Favorite shots, hit and counter. Catch and shoot.
Paulie, is that one of those things, man, when you develop, you get those world championship fights, what works in round 1 doesn't work in round 3, right?
Of course,
you just make.
You also got to be able to realize when somebody's really onto you a little bit, you know, when somebody's you know, sort of seeing what you're doing or starting to react too much to something that maybe has been effective. So you got to adjust it a little bit before you pay for it.
The guys early on in their pro careers, it's the same guy from round 1 to round 8.
Yeah.
Oh, nice hook again, and then the uppercut.
Story of this fight.
I think both men are bleeding now. A little bit of blood from the nose of Borland and Lakeland. I think mouth and nose.
Looks like Turnbull fading a bit in round number 5.
Yeah, Turnbull's a different fighter when he doesn't have that in and out ability. When they're a bit more flat-footed, it's Borland who's got a little bit more of an advantage.
Uppercut hook. Let's start counting these.
A lot of blood from the nose.
It's also automatic.
That's another thing, though. When you start bleeding from the nose, it makes it harder to breathe. Nice body shot there.
That'll make it harder
Borland.
to breathe, too.
Exactly. Second half of this fight dealing with a bloody nose.
Beautiful hook.
That's somebody's mouthpiece.
Smile from Borland. Turnbull's mouthpiece falls out.
Just laughs it off.
But that's another thing. When your nose is bleeding, you start breathing from your mouth. That's when the mouthpiece can fall out. That's when you can break your jaw. Very, very dangerous to have a bloody nose.
Little pause as they put the mouthpiece back in. Round number 5. Back to the power punches.
Oh! Back and forth.
Great stuff from both fighters to end the round. Welcome back, ProBox TV fans. When you look at it, this is one of those fights where we hope this sets the tone for the rest of the night, right, guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is what we were expecting coming in here. The fans are really behind the fight. This has been an all-action affair.
Corners, 10 seconds.
Landing big shots. We got blood. We got guts. Fantastic fight so far here to open up the show on ProBox TV.
Seconds out.
It's a
round
complicated
6.
question. How does Borland impose his will more than Turnbull? Because they both have the punches that have been landing. Defensively, what do you want to see?
I feel like there's got to be adjustments defensively for sure. I mean, first of all, when Borland, he got out there from the Turnbull attempt on a left hook, finally he made one miss. But also bring back that right hand right away. You know, when you throw it, also you can sort of set up Turnbull. You can sort of throw a lighter right hand, knowing he's going to counter with the left, and sort of throw a light right hand, bring it back to your face, block and shoot it. So catch and shoot. You know Turnbull's going to react with that left hook on the inside every single time.
Champ, I'm going to wager we're not going to see a lot of adjustments here tonight, especially as we get into round 6. But we do have a war of attrition. I want to see who's going to fall off.
That's a slight adjustment right there. Turnbull threw the left hand straight.
Borland.
Oh,
uppercut from Turnbull.
Not that Borland ever anticipates it wide anyway, but you know, he definitely didn't anticipate it straight on that one.
Very true. And then they go back to the uppercut hook.
Yep.
You've seen it a million times.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Good body work.
Taking down Borland.
And you can see maybe Turnbull's a little bit fatigued, because usually he would have catch and shoot there with the left. He did not fire back.
Yeah, we made
blood leaking from his nose, guys.
We made the big point that Turnbull is the guy who's been 10 rounds. He's been 8 before. This is the first 8-rounder for Borland, but he's looking like he's coming on stronger down the stretch.
Yeah, a little bit of surprise here. Borland fighting a little bit more like the veteran. Only 3-0 in his pro career. His opponent 8 fights, 5-3 as a pro.
A lot of blood.
Yeah, there's an opportunity here for Borland to really start putting the pressure on mentally and physically. Turnbull fighting with a lot of heart, but his fundamentals are starting to fall apart. You know, you can see there's opportunities. Good uppercut again, and those are what causes these nosebleeds.
Yes.
Those uppercuts, you know.
But I like how after the uppercut, he threw a nice straight right down the middle, almost like a jab with the right hand. That's the punch that could do more damage to an already hurt nose.
And what I like about Borland is he's not only neglecting the body. Good shots. Good exchange here.
Borland is just compounding the pressure, compounding the damage.
Looks like he's taking advantage of a slowing down Turnbull.
Yeah, Turnbull's definitely falling apart here.
Champ, you mentioned second half of the fight is where we're going to start to see who's going to separate themselves. And this round is really showing us Borland has been the one to start that separation here.
And for me, it's based on physicality and durability. Borland is taking the shots better. Obviously, his nose is holding up. Physically, he looks strong when he comes forward.
And this just became smock-worthy, ladies and gentlemen.
The problem is we forgot the smocks.
Blood covering us here at ringside. Just the way it goes here. It's a job hazard for us. They go right back to it.
Had to slip a nice big glob of blood, Vaseline, spit.
Nothing you haven't been around before. As this round comes to a close, ton of action. As we wipe up the blood here at ringside from what was a very exciting round number 6.
Yeah, this is where we're starting to see the separation by the undefeated Matthew Borland. I mean, that right hand, when he's throwing it uppercuts, he's throwing it straight. He's finding
Corners, 10 seconds.
Ever since that nose got damaged, has just slowed down just enough for Borland to.
Seconds out. Round 7.
Not a lot of tactical adjustment, but we're seeing the heart of Borland so far at that. Once it was past the halfway point of this fight. Yeah,
he really stepped on the gas after round 4. Round 5, round 6, really good rounds. And it seems like the physicality, the pressure of Borland is starting to wear on Turnbull.
Irish chants from the stands. Wouldn't surprise me at all if Borland getting some energy from that as well.
Anytime he gets a chance, Borland throws that uppercut. He's got like a radar on it, and at this point, it does more damage because the blood and the damage on the nose of Turnbull is going to be more excessive as soon as it's touched. Good left hand there by Turnbull, getting his head offline, like you like to say, champ. But there, the blood starts to come back out again.
And that's the thing. When the nose is damaged and you start getting hit with uppercuts, the eyes start to swell. Your vision gets blurry. Your eyes are tearing up. You get blood in your eyes.
Yeah, boxing's not for the faint of heart, folks. Don't start doing it if you can't handle it, because blood all over the place right now. Sneaky hook from Turnbull over the top.
Yeah, Turnbull's still landing those big shots, though, especially with that left hand. They're fewer and far between in these last couple rounds.
Nice big counter. And of course, he comes back with a combination and ends with an uppercut naturally.
Got to credit the guts of Turnbull. He's eating some big shots. We get to see him rock, staggered.
The timing,
no one's been down. Yep.
The timing of Borland has become a major difference here, guys. And maybe it's because Turnbull's also slowed down, so he's easier to time. But Borland has got some good timing shots.
And you see Borland, you know, I stand corrected. He did make an adjustment. He's not being so heavy over that front foot anymore. He's drawing the line in the sand. He's allowing himself abilities to pull and counter, and it's working out really well for him.
And about 10 seconds ago, he made a big left hand from Turnbull miss. And again on the other side of that.
He's definitely fighting more experience than his 3-0 record.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Again, this is one of those fights that you said, Champ, you got to give credit to taking this fight.
Yes.
Not an easy fight. Good body shot there by Borland as well.
You learn a lot from a fight like this.
This is a tough fight for a fighter who's just 3-0, and he's really showing his skill and talent and also character.
Yeah, character, his mettle.
Once again, neither of these fighters knockout punchers. They've combined 8 wins, only 1 knockout, and that's from Turnbull.
Now, we talked about that Turnbull's tough. He's got losses only to good fighters. You can see he fights tough. He's already been in a 10-rounder. How about Turnbull? This is his 4th pro fight. He's in an 8-rounder.
Yeah.
Against this guy, no less.
Right.
It's not an 8-rounder that he's just going to cakewalk through.
First 8-rounder against a guy with a lot of experience.
I mean, Borland against this guy.
And who can fight.
Love those drums.
Got the war drums out here in Belfast.
They always do. I think, Paulie, you still have that song in your head from fighting Ricky Hatton, right? It's going to bring all of that back. You just start singing, you don't realize.
Oh, yeah, it's automatic.
This is some of that action from round number 7.
Yeah, more and more these last few rounds, Borland's been really pouring it on, being a lot more consistent. We said he made some adjustments with his distance control, his ability to counter from the outside. But one thing that's not changed has been that uppercut, man. That right uppercut has just found a home, and he cannot miss. Every time he throws it, you saw it there. He threw it at the end of the combination, still lands.
We're wondering about Borland's gas come round number 8. He's fought very mature, far beyond his 3-0 record. We expect Turnbull to really turn it on here. I think he needs a stoppage.
You gotta see how much is left in the tank for Turnbull as well. He's taken a lot of damage his last few rounds. It's been a pretty high-paced fight back and forth.
Turnbull, the 5-3 fighter. In the white and gold. Borland from here in Northern Ireland in the blue and white. 3-0 is his record. Neither guy fighting as though they feel they have the lead. Both fighting like they need this 8th and final round.
But Turnbull is a little bit less explosive, guys. And Borland, again, see the timing of Borland. Over the course of a fight, a timing fighter will eventually start to take advantage of it, you know? Not that Turnbull's timing is terrible, but Turnbull is, well, like I said, he was more of an in-and-out guy. He tried to pick you up with his speed because he was an actually quicker guy in this fight. But over the course of the fight has progressed, Borland's timing is taking the toll.
Well, 2 things that really fatigue takes away is your ability to be fast twitch and also lateral movement. And we're seeing those 2 things have been what really was changed for Turnbull and why Borland's been able to time him.
A good shot there from Turnbull as he gets back out.
And he's going back to what was serving him so well early on. The lateral movement and being explosive with the left hand.
Halfway through the final round.
Turnbull's digging deep here in the last round.
He is.
Whoa, big swing and a miss.
He's used to being the road warrior, used to being on the B side. He does not want to take another loss.
Body shots there, and backward tongue by Turnbull, guys.
Nice uppercut hook on top of it.
Combination on the inside by Turnbull. He's fighting down this round. And I like that Borland's made some wide left hands miss the last couple of rounds, too.
Yeah, he started changing levels a little bit. Actually rolled underneath the shot there.
Because none of those were missing for 6 rounds straight.
Yeah. Oh.
He's going to even slip the left one on the straight one.
You see the fatigue in the feet of Turnbull. Almost turned all the way around after that shot. Turnbull's corner saying, let it go. Last chance here. The waning seconds of the final round. Borland has been in control, and he feels it.
Yeah.
Last half of this fight has been his.
Yeah, and Borland feels like Turnbull's trying to engage less and less, so he feels that mental advantage as well. Good uppercut again.
You know, Champ, you mentioned how you got to tip your hat to Borland for taking an 8-rounder this early in his career.
Against this guy.
Right, but this would have been a whole different fight if it was 6 rounds.
Yeah.
I think it was important for these guys to fight this many rounds so we could see that separation.
Yep.
And Borland looked impressive. After the halfway mark, he took this fight over. Looking very, very happy as he touches gloves with his opponent's corner.
And Jimmy, he didn't just take over by pushing harder and doing it by attrition. He actually made adjustments. He looked like he got better as the fight wore on. That was a very good performance. Both guys are super tough.
Definitely see where the future could be headed for this young man from Northern Ireland. How will the judges see it? I think pretty solid that Borland won this one by unanimous decision. I'd be surprised to see anything else. But boxing, Paulie, sometimes surprises us, right? You hope Borland won this one, but
yeah. I mean, also Turnbull's from Scotland. Rarely does the home fighter get robbed at home by the visiting fighter.
Yeah, pretty rare.
Only when Paulie Malignaggi fights Adrian Broner and Barclays. But other than that,
check it out on your bingo card, folks. We knew it would be here. But a lot of action from this fight.
Yeah, this is a great action fight, really from the opening bell until the very end. Back and forth action, super competitive. Both guys, like I said, fighting as if they were undefeated, even though Callum Turnbull's 5-3. So very, very tough guy for 5-3, going 8 rounds for the very first time for Borland, but really, really turning it on down the stretch.
I gotta reiterate though, it's the ProBox TV type of fight. Records don't matter. You put 2 guys in there, you know they're gonna fight. These are the kind of fighters we seek out.
Tell these fighters what you thought of this fight. After 8 rounds, referee Eamon McGill has made his decision. He scores this fight 79-73 in favor of your winner. And still undefeated, Matty Borland.
Well-deserved decision for the hometown boy. Bright future for this kid.
Yeah, I was impressed. I mean, he had a really tough guy in front of him, especially for so early in his career. Showed some nice adjustments and adaptations throughout the fight. But listen, Callum Turnbull, that's one of the toughest 5-4 guys you're ever going to see. Yeah. He's now 5-4. That guy can fight.
It's going to be a guy people are going to avoid now because of his record. Like, he's too tough to be. He's not good enough record to be somebody, but he's too tough to be an opponent. You know. With Borland though, I like the character as well. You know, he made the adjustment, everything, but also stayed calm when a guy like Turnbull really came out fast and showed a lot of things, and he didn't get into panic mode. In his first 8-rounder, he realized I got time and I can make the adjustments, and he did that. Real poise and maturity shown.
But also, not taking on a knockout puncher, but a guy who threw power punches the entire time. Looks like he just got out of bed. This guy wears damage very well. Not everyone does.
But Jim, as a white guy who's actually darker than him, that stuff comes later. At about 4 or 5 hours, his face is going to be marked up.
Very true.
You know that, Jimmy. Go on.
I know it really well.
And now,
Coming up
ladies and
next,
gentlemen,
Rudy Farrell versus
it is a
Connor
tradition
Kerr.
in the sport of boxing.
Super bantamweight fight,
When the
10
community
rounds. It's going to be
loses one of its
absolutely
own
outstanding.
to show
A
respect
rematch
and
this time around
appreciation
for the British
by
title
asking the
right
local
here on
crowd to
ProBox
stand
TV.
and pay attention and give a moment of silence for a 10 bells salute. Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Orlando and Kissimmee boxing fans.
Saturday, November 9th, we're back with a special night of fights.
We heard you guys. You wanted us to Kissimmee, and we're back. Wednesdays were tough for you. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to go Saturday night.
The main event is an action-packed Mexico versus Puerto Rico battle featuring top 10 ranked Puerto Rican Nicholas Flaz versus Mexican knockout artist Christian Niñote Gomez. Local favorite Darrell Blast Val Saint against his biggest test to date in Angel Lightning Ruiz.
Jojo Diaz makes his long-awaited return to the ring against El Niño Salinas.
Plus, we've got Dominic Valle, Pablo Valdez, Emiliano Moreno, Weldon Triggerman Mindoro, and many more great fighters on this one.
I can't tell you how great this card is going to be. Action-packed, you do not want to miss it.
This card is stacked to the top. Don't forget, Saturday, November 9th at the Osceola Heritage Park. Get your tickets right now. We will see you there.
Welcome back, and don't forget, Saturday, November 9th, Nicholas Flaz versus Christian Gomez, and the return of Jojo Diaz.
So let us start.
Welcome back to SSC Arena here in Belfast, Northern Ireland, as we get ready for our next fight.
Let's bring to the ring, ladies and gentlemen, Connor King Kong Kerr.
Look at the odds. Connor Kerr plus 300. Rudy Farrell minus 400. Money to be made on this one. A rematch. Hence the skewed odds here. Of course, Rudy Farrell able to defeat Connor Kerr for the Celtic title his last time out. But that loss, when Connor Kerr talks about it, his record 3-1, that one loss, of course, to Rudy Farrell, he doesn't talk about tactics. He doesn't talk about what he's going to do. He talks about redemption, about one more step toward his dream that was derailed by his opponent tonight. That sits with you for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw that every time these two were in the same room. Whether it was a press conference or the weigh-in, they were getting after each other. They were bickering back and forth. Their fan bases were going back and forth. Very, very exciting. He said, I would look forward to this fight. There's a lot of passion on the line for both these guys and a lot of bragging rights, both from Belfast.
Look, speaking of passion and bragging rights, you know, I work with Paulie Malignaggi. That's how you like to fight, bro. You were in the van going, this is what I like.
This is what you do this for, man. You do this for the fans. You do this for the roar of the crowd, the cheers, the emotion that is involved with it. That's what charges you, man. I don't know.
And
I guess there's other things that charge other people.
Also
That's what charges
fighting
me.
out of Belfast. Give it up for Rudy El Niño Farrell.
Combination of boos and cheers throughout the crowd. Once again, that'd be music to Paulie's ears. People hating you as well as loving you. Whatever, as long as they react, right?
Yeah, that's what I like. And at least they're not on their phones texting while I'm around here.
That's right, 5-1-1. Rudy Farrell, 2 knockouts from here in Belfast, Northern Ireland. Here's our tale of the tape. Kerr, 5 years the elder, also a 5-inch height disparity. Weighed in exactly the same. Reach advantage for Rudy Farrell. He didn't talk about the emotions when I talked to him about this fight. He talked about, I'm going to outbox this guy. I didn't box him well enough last time, got into a little bit of a brawl. It's going to be an outside boxing exhibition from me. That's what he said.
Well, he's also got more rounds to do with, too. It's a 10-round fight, so it would be smart to box at the pace a little bit. Listen, when you have that range advantage, I always had that. Paulie didn't have that so much, but I was a tall guy. I used to like to fight on the outside. Listen, you got to come to me no matter what. I can control the space, I can control the pace, so he'd be smart to do that in the first 10 rounds.
One of the most frustrating things on earth to watch as a boxing fan, Paulie, is a guy with long range willingly getting in a brawl. And like, you can keep this guy on the outside and pot shot the whole time, but a lot of times they don't.
A lot of times they don't, and sometimes they make it fun. Sometimes they're even good at it, like Chico Corrales.
Yeah, Chico's great at it. Ready to go, the great heavyweight, had a lot of range, love to fight on the inside and make it a war.
Who's the featherweight champion now? Espinosa, right?
Yeah, Rafa Espinosa, yeah.
Fights all have to.
He's like 6'1" and he's 126. Insane. But can fight on the inside.
But he fights like he's 5'3".
Ladies and gentlemen, this next fight is scheduled for 10 rounds in the super bantamweight division for the Boxing Union of Ireland's Irish Super Bantamweight title. Your judges for this fight, Colin Byrne, Padraig and Paul McCullough. And your referee, the third man in the ring, is David Irving. Introducing to you first, he fights out of the red corner. He wears the blue and white trunks. He weighed in at 121.6 pounds. His record, 3 professional wins with just 1 loss. Fighting out of Belfast, give it up for Connor King Kong Kerr. And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the pink and white trunks, supporting cancer. He weighed in at 121.6 pounds. His record, 5 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw with 2 wins by knockout. Fighting out of Belfast, please give it up for the current Boxing Union of Ireland Celtic Super Bantamweight Champion, Rudy El Nino. And here to give instructions, your referee, David Irving.
I've sent suggestions, okay? You know what I would expect. Keep respect clean at all times and protect yourselves at all times. Okay, gentlemen, tough gloves.
We are ready to go with the rematch. Decent amount of bad blood between these two gentlemen. Kerr in the blue and white.
6 seconds out.
Farrell in the pink and white. We are underway, round number 1.
Both these guys look proper fit, ready to rock. A lot on the line here.
You've been in Dublin for you've been in Belfast for 2 days, and you're going proper fit.
Well, what's the crack? What's the crack?
The language barriers, we just absorb it.
You totally did. You apparently totally did. Right now, Farrell doing what he said he would do, box from the outside. Kerr, by the way, if you worry about the guts of Kerr, he made his pro debut against a 26-fight veteran. That was his pro debut.
You see that a lot over here, actually. There's a lot of German guys, journeyman guys, that have a ton of fights, and you see them early on in their career taking them on.
It's the kind of fight Kerr wants. Dirty on the inside.
Kerr is being smart. He's jabbing with the taller man. That's something that a lot of fighters don't do. You can jab with the jabber.
Good job. He always applies physical pressure in his fights. That's a constant for Kerr.
Using nice feints too, though. Playing with that critical distance line, trying to make the taller man commit.
It's a little bit hard. It's difficult to fight in and out against a tall guy, though. He's going to have to use head movement just like that to try to punch off that head movement as well.
You know who's actually really good at that, Paulie? Was Carl Frampton. Really good in and out fighter with taller guys. So you saw that in a couple of those fights on the way
that's
up.
because Santa Cruz wasn't really an outside fighter who's tall.
Sergio Martinez, Paul Williams, all remember that big knockout. They fought before, very close fight. Martinez in and out.
Another European in and out type fighter.
Yep.
but you got to be in fantastic shape for that. That was one thing. Sergio Martinez, former cyclist, incredible athlete in terms of endurance. Let's see what Kerr has here in his first 10-rounder.
You got to be active the entire time. That's something you guys talk about a lot. You guys, you weren't power punchers, didn't get a break by knocking some down. You guys had to be in great shape every time.
Yeah. You got to really ply your trade in there when you're going to be in there for a lot of rounds. And you got to have a lot of tricks up the sleeve. Oh, good right hand there by Kerr as he starts to push his way inside.
Kerr right now kind of preventing Farrell from fighting at his distance. It's been much more of an inside fight than you think Farrell would have wanted.
Farrell's been landing some clubbing right hands. Those are some heavy shots from a tall man. He's dropping his weight behind it. He's not a huge puncher, but I can hear those shots ringside. They're heavy.
Kerr trying to make it count when he's close range.
Now, Kerr's got a great game plan. He's executing well here in round 1.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, Farrell's on the outside. And you want it to be comfortable on the outside, but you got to make sure you're working on the outside as well.
Yeah, but it's funny. Farrell said he wanted to fight on the outside, but he's the one stalking constantly.
Not only that,
his own range.
You can stalk and still stay in range. But Kerr, good shot there. But Kerr is also throwing a bunch of punches on the inside, and Farrell is not doing anything on the outside. Now Farrell got sucked into an inside fight.
Yeah.
Check it out.
And Farrell's having better success there. This is going to be a scrap all the way through.
Welcome back inside SSE Arena. A lot of action in that round number 1, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of tone in that first round too. You know, there's a lot of Kerr using that boxing glove from the outside, but then Farrell, who said he wanted to fight from the outside, really closing the distance and having some good success with the short hooking shots, especially the right hand. Here we see him showing short shots there. Uppercut, hook, right hand.
Gentlemen, the game plan doesn't always work. You got to have one. Both these guys have a game plan, right? You can see it.
Yeah, and then you got to be ready to make adjustments with that game plan as well, as we saw in the last fight with Matthew Borland.
Rudy Farrell in the pink and white, taking on Connor Kerr in the blue and white, a rematch from earlier in their careers. Both the guys looking forward to this one.
Really nice body shot on the inside. Farrell, he's another one of those tall guys who fights well on the inside.
Kerr will take his and turn southpaw and whip a shot in the right.
Yeah, he tries to get that check hook in.
Farrell saying in the first fight, I didn't box enough. I let him inside a little too much. We're on the clinic tonight, and he's been boxing well, but a lot of it has been on the inside, Chris, to your point.
Yeah, I mean, his success with power shots is definitely coming on the inside, but he is keeping it a distance, and I think that's smart of him. Nice timing right hand there from Farrell.
Connor Kerr, no knockouts in his 3 wins. Rudy Farrell, 2 knockouts in his 5 wins.
There's that right hand again.
Catch and shoot right hand.
Kerr's got to be careful pulling out like that. The long right hand, you're going to go right into it. You got to get underneath those right hands like he was doing earlier.
Farrell doing a good job getting his head off line, too, throwing that right hand down the middle as the tall guy fighting off his back foot.
You see when Kerr moves his head on the way in, you see he's able to get in more fluidly.
Also, when he gets herky-jerky, he throws a little feint in there. You got to bait that first move out of the tall guy.
I feel like sometimes good hands moving again from Kerr. Nothing too extravagant, but moving his hands and gets the attention of the judges there. Once he gets close, he's the only one really doing a lot of the work. On the outside, though, I gotta say, Farrell looks also like a kind of guy who's trying too hard to look for other punches except for the basics. Really, a jab and range control against Kerr would already give a lot of trouble.
Well, right now, having Kerr trapped in the corner.
That's the way he prefers to fight, though.
And he really loads up on the inside. Oh, nice uppercut from Kerr. Splits the guard.
Both fighters from here in Belfast, Northern Ireland, but the crowd very much behind Connor Kerr tonight.
Yeah, when Farrell used that jab, you saw a second ago, you see he's able to have some control there, but he's got to be consistent with it. He's got to. Instead, he tries to force right hands. He throws out when it's nice, but again, he pulls in the opponent.
Yeah, but Kerr landed a nice check hook too with the right hand.
There. Sorry, Farrell just likes
Good
to fight.
timing so far from Farrell as we end round number 2.
High octane stuff.
In the
10
corner.
seconds.
It's about who's going to have energy. A lot of it being expended so far in this fight, Chris. You can see it in the way they're fighting.
Yeah, I mean, whenever the distance is close, both these guys get frantic paces and really let those hands go, throwing big shots. And from the outside, there's a lot of movement. Farrell did a good job that round, keeping the distance a little longer, using that right hand. But Kerr, man, he's making those moves work on the outside. He was able to close that distance and let those hands go on the inside as well.
Round 3 scheduled for 10. British title on the line in this super bantamweight fight. Last time they fought for the Celtic title.
I've not seen much body work from Kerr at all. Farrell's the only one who's been going down low, especially with that right hand. Kerr, you would think, being the shorter guy, fighting a guy with a long torso, you want to get to that body, but haven't seen that yet. Like that, it was a perfect time to throw a left hook to the liver. Slipped the right hand.
Seems to be a little bit of head hunting from the shorter fighter.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's that kind of fighter, champ. I think what he wants to do is just get his hands moving and make Farrell uncomfortable by getting close and moving his hands. I'm not sure he has the ability to have that quick timing shot like that. But at the same time, Farrell also doesn't have the ability to keep his fight on the outside. Right. Like I said, he doesn't really have that kind of jab, and he throws other punches that he could probably save for other opportunities, for other moments.
And also, it's just personality type. He just seems to want to fight on the inside.
Kerr at 5'5", taking on Farrell, who's 5'10". And he wants to get in, as you said, not really working the body as well as he could have, but wants to get in just like this. And as you said, champ, at least make Farrell uncomfortable with those shots.
Does a pretty good job fighting off that back foot, letting those right hands go, but he falls into position with his back against the ropes, and that's where Kerr can get those eye-catching combinations off.
Yeah, and he also looks more for those than he does for jabs. He's not really committed to that jab the way he should be against a shorter guy. Just kind of sticks it out there, you see. He's more so looking for bigger shots. He's thinking about how to set up a bigger shot instead of letting it open up.
Yep. It's really touch jab, and then lets a big shot go. Or the popping right hand.
You said it, Chris. Kerr trying to jab with the jabber. When he does that, he has some success.
Yeah, he's able to close the distance, and I think that's what he needs to do. Especially when you got a guy who's not throwing an authoritative jab. He's not stopping you with that jab. So if you jab with that, you're gonna punch right through there, get to the position where you need to, and then let shots go like that.
Good shots from Kerr. Good catch and shoot there from Farrell as well, guys. It's like both guys just prefer on the inside.
Yep.
Make the ring smaller and let them get what they want.
I mean, well, that's how the first fight went. They fought very much on the inside.
Can't believe it, but I feel I was lied to by a fighter. Yet again, when will I stop trusting him? Farrell said he was going to box on the outside. We haven't seen a whole lot of that.
Maybe he doesn't have the ability to. I don't know. You know, that jab is not much commitment on it. You're going to start boxing on the outside, you got to start dominating with the jab. I'm not sure he has a physical makeup to dominate with the jab, but he doesn't have the commitment to it.
Igo
Seconds out.
breaks that rhythm, might have success. We begin round number 4. As I always say, familiarity breeds contempt. These guys have a lot to say to one another every time they're in the same room together. So far, it's been a pretty clean fight.
Kerr swore that the fight was going to be different, and it does look like he has made some tactical adjustments. He just hasn't really stuck to them, and he just allowed Farrell to work too much on the inside.
This is basically, the guy who's going to win this fight is whoever works more on the inside.
Yeah.
If they get on the inside, whoever does the more work. I don't even know if you can call it quality work, because not a lot gets through even on the inside, but there's a lot of hand movement. I think it's going to be, it gives the illusion that they're doing more on the inside, because on the outside, they're both pretty ordinary.
Yeah, it seems like Farrell's the one who throws the heavier shots on the inside, but Kerr has those eye-catching combinations, those pitter-pats, those touches, those shoe-shine punches.
And a lot of people just assume the shorter guy is doing better on the inside. And a lot of judges just see that, oh, he must be hitting harder because he's short, although Farrell doing good stuff on the inside.
Also, judges really don't like when a guy is back on the ropes. It just gives the impression that you're getting pinned there and fighting out of a corner.
Farrell's actually frustrating to watch, especially for me that I was a jabber. I'm sure for you too, because he's on the outside and he doesn't have good shots there though. That's he's got to do more of that. If he's going to spend time on the inside, those are the kind of shot picking. That's the kind of shot picking he's got to do.
Well, he really commits to those mid-range and short-range punches.
But he chooses them. Yeah. I don't feel like Kerr chooses shots. I feel like Kerr just moves his hands as fast as he can and as much as he can.
He just rattles them off.
But sometimes in choosing his shots, Farrell takes too long or waits too long, and Kerr gets off his little flurries. Not an easy one to score here. Good shots here again by Farrell. He's having a decent round.
That was a nice heavy left hook to the temple. Kerr took it well. Oh, nice straight left hand right down the middle, right on the button. Oh, that left hook.
Well, in this round started to do damage for the first time.
Oh yeah, that left hook had an effect.
Nope. Kerr's starting to slow down a little bit. I don't know if the flurries made him tired, just throwing those flurries, or now. But now with a little bit more dead time in between, Farrell is actually able to choose his shots on the inside.
Yeah, I mentioned those thudding right hands from Farrell early. Now he's landing thudding left hooks as well. The power differential is definitely in the corner of Farrell.
Time running out in this 4th round. Very good round for Rudy Farrell. As you said, guys, he's starting to find his range just a little bit better. One thing about the style of Conor Kerr is got to keep going. Got to be very, very busy throughout. It is not easy to do in a 10-round fight.
Got to be busy and you have to be consistent. It takes a deep gas tank, and you got to make sure you're not getting hit with those bigger shots from Rudy.
Plenty of energy in this SSE arena for both of these fighters. Conor Kerr, a bit more of the hometown favorite, although both fighters from Belfast. Here's some of the action from these earlier rounds.
Quarters, 10 seconds.
You saw Farrell picking his shots nicely this past round on the inside. And with the shot selection, he lands a better quality shot than does. Kerr does decent on the inside, but there's not really any eye-catching. He's just moving hands and pushing Farrell back. While when Farrell does get his hands going inside, there's some eye-catching shots.
Good combinations on the outside again from Farrell.
And every once in a while, Kerr will land a big heavy shot, but then Farrell comes back with 5, 6 heavy shots.
Yeah, we're getting to almost to the halfway point of this fight. Let's see, as is typical in these longer fights, it's the second half of the fight where somebody starts to take command. But this fight really starts to unfold. Good uppercut by Farrell, followed by a new combination, guys.
That's a combination that he's thrown a few times tonight. He throws the uppercut, the left hook, and the right hand. Really, really nice, smooth combination. Usually 1 or 2 of those 3 punches lands.
Here comes Kerr, though. He's trying to make his push back in. Oh, good body shot there from Kerr, guys.
Yeah, that was a nice left hook under the elbow. You see a little face from Farrell, like, nah, it was nothing. I'm good. which usually means it wasn't
Good
nothing.
combination there from Kerr. Play back and forth fight, guys.
Very back and forth, but first 3 rounds, Kerr was able to get inside very well. That wasn't the case in the last round.
He was a lot more herky-jerky in the first couple rounds. He's a lot more straightforward these last few rounds, which is why he's getting picked apart at times.
The back to the head movement. He had Farrell missing a few seconds ago. Went back to head movement.
Switching sides, flashing flash jabs. See, this is the style that Kerr needs to be able to do all night long to win this fight.
It's not easy when you get fatigued, though, right? Change moving his head again, keeping his head offline, and got Farrell missing those shots.
Also, as a smaller guy, you gotta bend those knees. You gotta do lots of squats in preparation for a fight like this. Changing levels in and out, side to side, making those herky-jerky movements. The fast twitch muscles really get worked in a fight like this when you gotta work so hard to get inside.
Paulie, that was something you and I talked about. The difference between the amateurs and the pros. The pros got to have a lot of different speeds.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Oh, good shot.
Nice shot, left hook.
Speaking of different speeds, Farrell came back in this round now.
The most effective punch for either man tonight has been the left hook of Farrell, man. That thing has been landing heavy, and it seems to be having an effect on Kerr when he does land it.
Smart move, going guillotine over the top. Trying to slow this fight down a little
bit. Oh, beautiful body shot. He switched that one up. I mentioned the left hook upstairs has been a really effective punch. He threw a combination and then put the left hand down low, landed beautifully, and you saw Kerr's reaction.
Yeah, Kerr slowed down noticeably after that shot. That one stunned him.
Yeah, you're seeing he's still feeling that body shot.
He needs some time to get it back.
I wonder if Farrell knows it.
Kerr still showing that he's dangerous. Even after that thudding body shot.
I think Rudy's missing an opportunity here. I don't know if you realized how much that body shot affected Kerr.
He's Kerr trying to fire back at the end of the round, right? And Farrell.
What separates the men from the boys? It is halfway through the fight. As we find out who has real guts. Farrell doing some good work in the last couple rounds, Chris.
Yeah, actually Kerr had a really good start to that round, but Farrell finished really strong, landed some good left hooks upstairs and especially downstairs toward the end of the round. Here we see the ripping combinations when he has Kerr right in front of him. So once again, we still have back and forth stuff, but I like the work from Rudy Farrell in that round.
One of the signs, Kerr slowing down a bit.
Round 6.
In the last round, his style takes a lot of energy to get on the inside. Good combination, catching Kerr on the way in.
Long combination there from Rudy.
One thing he's not doing, gentlemen, is admiring his work. He's doing a good job of getting out after those combinations.
He's got it. It's more, the onus on him to keep his head moving a lot, especially at that close range. Because it's hard to get in and out against a tall guy. The tall guy can catch him on the out. He's got those longer arms.
Farrell's, you see, he's got his rhythm going. He's feeling comfortable. He's controlling range much better. You just saw that perfect example right there. Slides away, moves to his right, doesn't get touched. Goes back to his left hand. And again, is able to stymie Kerr when he gets in the inside and tries to throw those combinations. Rare lull in the action here.
Both fighters getting a little bit of a break.
Seems like both men are thinking about their next move.
Waiting for the referee about something. Might have been a shot behind the head.
Again, Kerr getting a little herky-jerky here with that little in-and-out movement that was effective early on.
Yeah, he's got to punch off that, though.
Yeah.
It works to get his head offline, get Farrell missing.
He's also a champ. He's using a lot of energy to do that.
Yeah.
To not score.
Second fight in a row we've had here tonight on ProBox TV where, both guys very, very busy, but either guy, knockout punchers, so it leads to a lot of action. Got to keep working the whole time.
I mentioned how fit these guys were. We saw them at the weigh-in yesterday. Obviously, they're coming prepared. Not only is it their first 10-rounder, but there's bad blood. There's beef. These guys have been in the ring together. They know what the other man's like.
And also, loaded shots here by Farrell.
Oh,
nice
hard
shots.
shots.
He gets Kerr against the ropes. Also, it's sort of a derby, guys. I mean, they're both from Belfast, bragging rights.
Oh, hell yeah.
Same neighborhood.
Both guys have a lot of fans here tonight.
A little short hook from Kerr. Every once in a while when he turns southward, he gets in a little short check hook.
Yeah, he's got nice timing on that shot. He's able to time, but that's because Farrell only pushes out that right hand. He doesn't really snap it when he's at range. But when he's on the inside, he drops it heavy. But from the outside, he just kind of puts it out there. Good body work from Kerr on the inside.
Crowd chanting as we come to the end of round number 6. Slick combinations throughout for Farrell. Right now, it looks like the timing kind of going with Farrell a bit. The range going a little bit with Farrell. It seems as though Kerr is having more trouble getting inside than he did in the first half of the fight. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it seems like he's slowing down just a little bit. That's allowed the taller man to keep the distance maintained, keep that control of where the fight happens. And when he gets on the inside, he just lets the bigger, harder shots go. So it's hard not to notice that.
British super bantamweight title on the line.
10 seconds.
They're both fighting like they want it, gentlemen.
Yeah, absolutely. You can sense there's a lot of the line for both of these guys. Whenever they get within punching range, they're letting their hands go with heavy shots. But more and more, it's been Farrell who's been in control of the distance.
Yeah, no one has stalled at all as we begin round number 7, scheduled for 10. Rudy Farrell in the pink and white, Kerr in the blue and white.
See there, Kerr moves his head, trying to work his way inside, and he does a good job there, but he doesn't punch off the movement. And it's like, you can punch off the movement. You don't have to stop the movement to then punch. It's got to kind of blend together.
Some good work here from Kerr.
Against the ropes, but still throwing is Farrell.
But then Kerr gives up a lot of ground, moves back. That's not great body language for the judges.
The optics we've seen over and over, judges favor the guy moving forward, even if he's not landing effectively. And the chant comes. There it is, Paulie. Having flashbacks, my broadcast partner, Paulie Malignaggi.
I'm thinking about it maybe for, you can actually use it for both guys, right? The syllables match.
Yeah, they're both.
Only one, Rudy Farrell, or only one, Kerr.
It could be either one.
There was a Rudy chant earlier. I'm not really sure who they're rooting for now, but
Two hometown guys.
They have bragging rights on the line. A rematch of a fight that was previously won by Rudy Farrell.
I feel like, this fight's been competitive. It's been back and forth.
Yeah.
Farrell is sort of started to make the adjustments now, but Kerr shows his value each and every round as well in some spots. Nobody's really taking the fight by the horns yet, right? Nobody taking the bull by the horns. And nobody, I feel like, again, that little check right hook, it's always there, right? I got Kerr check right hook. I feel like nobody's actually trying to take that extra step to take the fight and grab the bull by the horn, so to speak.
oh, nice right hand. Good, well timed from Rudy there.
Again, another right hand there as Kerr when Kerr languages on the outside with no head movement, he gets clipped. He's kind of a sitting duck for those shots.
Rudy Farrell doing well when he gets extension on his punches.
That's one thing. When you're the taller man and you're hitting the guy on the way in and the way out, it's hard to lose rounds. Oh, nice right hand right down the middle, splits the guard of Kerr. And again, a little too much hesitation there from Kerr. He had Rudy with his back on the ropes, didn't let those hands go in time.
Because again, I think Kerr moves his head and then punches instead of punching as he's moving his head. I'm telling you, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, there's a gap between the defensive move and the offense.
The punches should be flowing off the head movement.
Good combinations fast from Farrell. Not a lot on each punch, but certainly doing what he can to steal this round number 7.
Yeah, you can see at the distance. He takes a little bit of power off those shots. He just kind of lets his hands move.
Oh, on the way out.
Good end to the round. Of round number 8 here at SSE Arena. And if we thought Kerr was going to go quietly because he got a bit tired, and showed in the last round that wasn't the case. He's still very much in this fight.
Yeah, it was good
Bonus, 10 seconds.
Also Kerr getting those hands moving, but again on the outside when he doesn't step around. What they tell you, right? When you get that combination on the inside, step around, especially on a taller fighter. Kerr, you saw in that last replay, throwing the punches, stepping right back out, trying to exit, and Farrell catching him on the out.
Farrell starting again with good combinations. 3 rounds to go in this 10-rounder.
Just seems like Kerr, when he is having success, he's working very, very hard, and he's not able to keep it up for the full 3 minutes. It allows Farrell, especially later in the rounds, to steal them.
Oh, nice uppercut there by Kerr.
Looking up the lights briefly.
But then he stays in the pocket and allows Farrell to land those shots.
Guys, I just figured out the flaw Farrell has. Something's been bothering me about why he doesn't know how to use his height. He walks, he steps forward instead of pushing off the back foot. And that's why he's got nothing on the jab, and that's why he's not able to control his height, his range and height. Doesn't push off his back foot. Watch when Kerr goes away, he'll just kind of step, but he doesn't cross his feet, but he steps forward first to left without pushing off his back foot.
Great observation there, Paul.
Yeah, you saw right there. You saw what he did.
It's a walk rather than push.
Yeah, and I wouldn't call it a walk, Jimmy, because walking is when they cross their feet, but he steps forward without pushing off his back foot. So you don't get as much leverage on the in and also on the out when you're doing it the opposite way. He's taking control of the fight more and more, though. He's taking the opportunities away from Kerr here. Kerr, oh yeah, well, that was the lock again.
A little bit of guillotine there. A little bit of guillotine.
Jimmy, you recognize those?
Oh, I recognize them well. I hate them.
Yeah, you see,
head in the face as well by Kerr.
Look, Kerr has mentioned he's been talking to the ref more and more as he's been more
frustrated, right?
Yep, getting frustrated. Now you saw him putting his head into the head of Rudy, getting warned for it.
And that was visible. Oh, look, attempting another guillotine, Jimmy. Look.
Going for it over and over again, but this ain't MMA.
Oh.
Not going to be able to do it. Got to somehow outbox Rudy Farrell, who has done well with his combinations in the back half of this fight.
Kerr's mad. He's trying to come forward. Big shot.
Good combination.
He finds the range. He gets it in there.
And now Champ, he's sitting down on those punches rather than just throwing
but
flurries.
Again, look how easy he's able to just walk in on Farrell. Because again, Farrell doesn't know how to defend that height advantage.
Under a minute left in round number 8. How can Rudy Farrell get this round back? We'll see another good combination this last half minute.
Shot there by Kerr with that jab.
A lot of good action here in round 8.
He's pushing Farrell back a lot now.
Kerr right now throwing with abandon. Didn't know if this would happen as the round started, but
this is what he's needed to do. He's making it rough here. Another guillotine, putting a lot of pressure on the back of the taller man.
Farrell actually complained about that. He's joking me.
excellent job from Kerr. A little stare down at the end. Let them know I'm still in this fight. Some of the action from the last round. Kerr doing some good work on the inside.
One of the best rounds Kerr's had in quite some time, just by being aggressive. He got a little frustrated, he got a little angry, he made it a little rough. He came forward with some big shots as he was backing Farrell up. It worked out really well.
Farrell too up high on the inside.
Seconds out.
Himself on the end.
2 rounds left to go, and Kerr coming right at him.
And Kerr realized it. If Kerr understands not to smother himself, he can be effective on the inside. It's just a lot of times, good uppercut there. It's just a lot of times when he gets close, he smothers himself.
And he just realized that he needs to dial up the pressure in order to be effective. He was just being a little too nice about it. Now he's getting a little aggressive. He's finding some great success.
Yeah, because Farrell, his boxing ability does not match up with his height. So if you push him a lot, his boxing is not going to be able to keep you on the outside.
That was very important. The ref warned Farrell for putting his head down as Conor leaned on it, which is a good tactic against a tall guy.
Again, Kerr trying to make it uncomfortable.
Nice body shot.
Coming forward.
Oh, yeah, here we go. He had to make this a fight.
Farrell now finding himself in a firefight, exactly what we wanted to avoid against Conor Kerr. The whole interview was about his boxing ability. But Kerr turning this into a brawl.
And the interesting thing is Conor Kerr, I think, is using less energy like this than he was earlier. Like you said, Champ, moving his head but not punching. Now he's just punching.
Yeah, he figured if I want to burn the energy, might as well use
punch.
punching. Farrell's not like he's that difficult to hit, you know? So once you're inside, if you're moving your hands, I feel like one thing that Kerr was doing at times is smothering himself. He has the will, but he didn't have the intelligence to figure out, oh, that's a hard headbutt there, guys.
Flash of heads. Surprised we haven't seen more of them, considering the height differential between those
I love how halfway they're arguing, halfway they're touching gloves.
Yeah.
Gotta figure it out, guys. It's a close fight. Yeah, it's time to fight here.
Oh, good body shot from Rudy. And a good overhand right from Kerr.
Well, Kerr, it also seems to me when Kerr decides he wants to try to win the fight, he actually can, push Farrell back and win the rounds. It's just at times he slows down, and when he slows down, a slower pace favors Farrell.
He's a man who looked like he was waning about halfway through the fight. Looked like Farrell had taken it over, but Kerr has looked good in these last 2 rounds.
And he's put himself back into this fight in a big way. Oh, nice check hook.
Again. Kerr trying to get out. Farrell doesn't want to let him.
A good tie up there from Kerr. But now he needs to spin, get back to the center of the ring. And keep building up the work that he's done this round. Because a lot of times he loses the round in the last minute.
30 seconds left in this round number 9. Good round so far for Kerr, but can he make it definitely his with a big stamp? And Farrell throwing combinations.
Regardless of who wins this fight, both these men can look back at this and see where they could have done things better.
There's a lot to work with here.
A lot to work with.
But a good fight.
Can't deny both men giving it all.
This is what I meant by the end of these rounds. Farrell always comes on, backs up Kerr, lands big shots. Good work here.
Judges not going to have an easy night tonight. Been back and forth, not just in terms of rounds, but in terms of within the round.
Jamie, I think that's going to be for every fight tonight.
Yeah. Corner right now, Rudy Farrell. We are ready for the 10th and final round. A fight that was personal between these two men at the weigh-in. A lot of jawing going on between them and their camps. It's been a comparatively clean fight. The question is, can that man, Conor Kerr, be able to charge forward like he has in the last couple rounds and get inside? Much easier said than done, but had some success in round number 9.
10 seconds.
Yeah, the first half of that round, he was just, again, building off of that aggression that he had in round 8. But towards the end of the round, as we've seen in many rounds, Farrell comes on, lands some big right hands from the outside, lets his hands go when they get close.
Yeah, it's good to see that respect before round number 10.
Could it come down to 10, guys? What do you think? Could it come down to round 10? It's not the kind of fight you want to lose the last round, right?
No, I think both men need to go for this, try to win this round.
Yeah, you don't know the scorecards. It's not the kind of fight where you can sort of rest on your laurels around 10 if you're either guy, I think.
I don't think either one of these guys want to do that anyway.
As we said throughout this fight, bragging rights, both of them from Belfast here in Northern Ireland.
The right eye of
swelling
Kerr
fast.
is really swelling bad.
I mentioned those big left hooks that Farrell's been landing all night. Starting to add up.
You know the advice, Paulie, hit the one in the middle, right?
Yeah. Yep. That was Paulie's advice in the corner.
Yep.
And then
seeing 3 of them.
And then the one in the middle. Tony, the trainer, says, right, hit the one in the middle.
Rocky IV. Check it out, kids. If you haven't seen it before.
We're not seeing that same aggression from Kerr here. Conor Kerr came out really explosive.
There by Kerr. Good hook by
and a
Kerr.
good
Hurts
shot.
the champ. Big.
Got hit with a body shot.
Nice right hand.
Yeah, a couple of right hands there from Farrell.
Farrell doing a good job of slowing the pace of being effective.
Kerr came out like a bullet in the last round.
Cut him off there a second ago. Nice.
Kerr circling on the outside, but vulnerable to these counter punches as he's coming in. Come up on about 1 minute left in round number 10.
Cash your heads again.
Yep. Let the referee stop it. You can't basically get mentally checked out of this fight right now.
You saw Kerr going straight back
unloading.
again. Yeah, you saw Kerr going straight back again, and it cost him.
There was actually a good body shot when the headbutt quote unquote occurred. I wonder if that's one of the reasons why you're seeing Kerr fighting off that back foot.
Looking for a little bit of a break, maybe.
Nice.
Steal moment from Kerr. Can't fall asleep on the inside with a guy like Kerr. Farrell gets mad. Both guys really have a problem smothering themselves, though. Farrell tries to come right back and smother himself.
When you're fighting with so much aggression and ego and bragging rights, you tend to get that. And we always talk about effective aggression, but there's controlled aggression as well.
Once again, good combinations from Rudy Farrell.
And when it's controlled, it becomes effective.
Right. Well, there you go.
It all goes together. That's what
good hook. I tell you that.
I like that move.
Yeah, I like that hook. He's been using all night. That little sneak check right hook. Again, Kerr going straight back and Farrell catching him on the out.
And that is the end of the 10th and final round.
Good scrap.
Great scrap. How the judges saw it, that's going to be the difference here.
I think regardless, these guys have earned each other's respect. Many a pints may be shared between these two tonight.
I hope so. I hope so. It's one of those things where I don't mind pre-fight trash talk, getting everybody hyped. I like to see at the end, okay, it's all over, I respect you. You know, you like seeing that moment, and that's what we saw here.
I mean, these guys have spent 18 rounds together at this point, punching each other in the face, so, you know, there's no better way to earn someone's respect.
It's one of those nights, I am glad I am not a judge. But when you
glad I'm not a judge every night.
Period. I'm not a judge. we only remember them when they suck.
Yeah.
No, first off. But this idea that you're right, champ, we're getting a lot of these kinds of fights tonight where gritty and, you know, the determination on both sides, a lot of inside punching and outside work, and it's hard to judge fights like that.
Well, listen, I mean, for one, it's ProBox TV. That's what we're all about. But also the Conlon brothers. That's their ethos with matching up their fighters over here. They've done a fantastic job with their matchmakers, making sure that these fights are going to be competitive and they're going to be action-packed. And so far, they have been. Davies Jr.
Good side and downside of ProBox TV is a lot of times at the end of the round, end of the fight, wondering who got the decision.
Yeah, I mean, this one is definitely, you know, up in the air. I liked a lot of the work that Farrell was able to do, but there were spots where Kerr was very effective as well. But I think a lot of those rounds, like I mentioned, the last minute of a round really can show a separation. And for more often times, it seemed like Farrell was the guy who was taking control of that last bit.
Looked in round, I believe it was round number 9. It looked like Kerr might be coming on and really being effective.
Yeah, 8 and 9
didn't last.
Yeah, 8 and 9. He came out really aggressive. Was a little frustrated, it seemed, but he came out really strong in those rounds. And I think those are some of his best rounds of the fight.
I will just assume that's an Irish sombrero we're seeing in there. I'm just going to assume that's what it is. I know a sombrero when I see one.
Yeah, the colors combination is interesting, but.
Didn't you know real men wear pink? Didn't you know that's a thing?
I've heard.
No problem wearing it. Beautiful stuff from both guys. Two guys that you want to see again, right? That's what I mean ProBox TV is. You throw in a banger like Robbie Davies Jr. in our co-main event, you're going to come back.
Even coming up a loss, you can come into a big fight. Which, as you mentioned, Robbie Davies Jr. came fighting another former 2-time world champion tonight. So yeah, both these guys, they can come back on our air. They were exciting.
Yeah, bright future for both of them. Crowd here in Ireland chanting, yelling just what we would expect. And it's taken a while to add up the scorecards. That usually means it's close.
That usually means it's close.
Northern ready to end it.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of boxing action, let's celebrate these fighters! We go to the judges' scorecards. Judge Burns scores this bout 98-92. Judge Padraig scores this bout 97-93, and Judge McCullough scores this bout 100-91 in favor of your winner by unanimous decision and new BUI Irish Super Bantamweight Champion, Rudy Emilio.
Did I hear 100 to 90? Is the connection okay?
Listen, I mentioned finishing strong in rounds is important. You know, Rudy was able to do that quite a bit in a lot of those closer rounds. A lot of rounds where Conor started out quick. I mean, 190 is crazy to me, but you could see these guys. They were both concerned about who won this fight.
Right,
So,
and the idea that this was a wipeout on either side is absolutely absurd. I'm not saying the wrong guy won. I would have slightly given it.
even 98-92 is not crazy to think about, because again, stealing all those rounds, ending them up, I liked a lot of the work that he was doing. 97-93, probably more in line with what I was thinking.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
But 190, that's a stretch.
He came on and did some good work in some of those later rounds. The early rounds and the later rounds.
Yep.
Right?
The early rounds, a lot of them could have gone either
Really
way.
close, yeah.
You know, but if you all went to Rudy, obviously you're going to end up with 100. But yeah, some of those later rounds too. Interesting scorecard.
Well, it's a man we'll definitely see again here on ProBox TV. Rudy Farrell, very proud to get another belt here in Ireland. Coming up next, it's our co-main event of the evening. Robbie Davies Jr. versus Javier Fortuna. We like that Irish skill and will. It'll be on display from the fighter from Liverpool, Robbie Davies Jr. against the former world champion in Javier Fortuna. Big step up in name for him.
Hey, Orlando and Kissimmee boxing fans.
Saturday, November 9th, we're back with a special night of fights.
We heard you guys. You wanted us to Kissimmee, and we're back. Wednesdays were tough for you. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to go Saturday night.
The main event is an action-packed Mexico versus Puerto Rico battle featuring top 10 ranked Puerto Rican Nicholas Flores versus Mexican knockout artist Christian Niñote Gomez. Local favorite Darrell Blast Val Saint against his biggest test to date in Angel Lightning Ruiz.
Jojo Diaz makes his long-awaited return to the ring against El Niño Salinas.
Plus, we've got Dominic Valle, Pablo Valdez, Emiliano Moreno, Weldon Triggerman Mindoro, and many more great fighters on this one.
I can't tell you how great this card is going to be. Action-packed, you do not want to miss it.
This card is stacked to the top. Don't forget, Saturday, November 9th at the Osceola Heritage Park. Get your tickets right now. We will see you there.
Welcome back to SSE Arena here in Belfast, Northern Ireland. The fights we expected, toe-to-toe, will, skill on display so far. It's been nothing if not exciting, right, Paulie?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, great atmosphere. Really, these fans really love their boxing. Really appreciative that we're here. And we hope to, you know, continue to bring these good action fights. You know, ProBox TV is a traveling brand now, you know? And, you know, so far so good with the good action. We have that recent derby there. You know, the crowd was really into it with the derby. I call it the derby like a European football, soccer, you know?
My soccer fan colleague here, he knows about crowd energy.
Yeah, and when it's two hometown guys, that's what it's called, the derby. And, you know, they were into it. They kept hearing the chants from both sides.
And Robbie Davies Jr. coming in as an almost 2-1 favorite over the former two-time world champion Javier Fortuna. You know how great he used to be. Can he summon that tonight against the always tough Robbie Davies Jr.? That's the question.
That's the question. And you know what? Something to keep in mind is Fortuna also, you know, on the way here, somebody on his airplane died of a heart attack, unfortunately, and he had to go back to the Dominican Republic, so it messed up his travel on the way here. I'm curious.
That is what explains the weight differential here. Javier Fortuna weighing in at 148 pounds. Talk about the problems with this fight.
Yeah.
Very hard to cut.
That can throw you off.
Yeah, really throw you off. Both 35, but not the same kind of 35. Javier Fortuna has been in some tough fights with some of the best. Reach, slight advantage for Robbie Davies Jr. you didn't watch his fight against Sergey Lipinets, it was an instant classic here on ProBox TV. We expect the same kind of action right now in this co-main event. Crowd anxious and waiting. They've been here since the opening fight. They have been packed in here. They've been chanting. They've been hitting their drums. Everything you expect from an Irish crowd.
Yeah, excited.
Don't forget Jojo Diaz, Saturday, November 9th. Kissimmee, Florida. His comeback isn't about the X's and O's of a fight. This is about overcoming his own personal demons to even be here at all. What an incredible story from him.
And that's the thing about it, things like this, Jimmy. You know, he's already won in coming back from this, especially if he never goes back and then never reverts to the things that put him in this position. But also the fact that he's boxing is the extra cherry on top. And he gets to come back and he gets to come back fighting as well. So that's the extra cherry on top that gets to add to this great story if he's able to keep it on a positive road.
And when you talk about physical talent over the last decade or so, Jojo Diaz is one of the guys you always talk about in terms of his physical ability. If he's a
the guy was an Olympian, Jim. You know, and went to the Olympics. I mean, they don't make those too often, you know, Olympians.
It's very true, and also if he's a fraction of his former self, with that name, a great performance at ProBox TV, he could be right back in the mix.
Yeah, with a name like that, an ex-world champion as well, you know, 1 or 2 good wins, and, you know, the champions to be looking at to fight you, because ex-world champions always are more relevant than non-world champions.
That line, Chris, of happy to be here. We talk about being the death of a fighter, is I'm just happy to be here. How does Jojo Diaz manage being happy to be back and yet wanting to beat a tough opponent?
You know, that's got to be a tough answer. We're not going to know until he actually fights. But I'm curious to see how much he has left. Because if he has a fraction of what he was, he's still a great fighter.
So let us introduce the fighter out of the red corner. He is fighting out of Braintree, Massachusetts. He is the former two-weight WBA champion of the world, Javier El Abejon Fortuna.
From the Dominican Republic, Javier Fortuna. He's fortunate enough to call his fight with Robert Easter Jr. You guys remember him. That was a really outstanding fight, but he is tricky when he's on his game.
Absolutely, he's tricky, and he's one of those guys, if you let him get comfortable at this stage of his career, he can be a real problem all night long. And if he hurts you, he's a finisher.
All for rhythm. Mouthful too.
And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner, he is from Liverpool, England. Make some noise for Robbie Davies Jr.
Said a couple minutes ago, if you'd like that Irish action, I know this fighter's from Liverpool in the UK, but man, he is a come-forward fight. That's what he brings every single time. This crowd, this Irish crowd, very much behind him tonight because of what he brings every time he steps in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, he's always in a fun fight. You know, he's not hard to find. He gets hit, but he can crack and he likes to hit you back.
And gentlemen, this is it. It is time for your co-main event of the evening. This fight is scheduled for 10 rounds in the welterweight division. Introducing to you first, he fights out of the red corner. His record, 38 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw with 27 big wins by knockouts. He wears the black and gold trunks, weighing in at 148 pounds. The former two-weight WBA champion of the world, Javier El Abejon Fortuna. And fighting out of the blue corner, his opponent from Liverpool, England. with a record of 23 wins, 5 losses, with 15 wins by knockout. He wears the white, red, and gold trunks. He weighed in at 146.4 pounds. Make some noise for Robbie Davies Jr.
Gentlemen, you talk about overcoming things to come back. We talked to Robbie Davies Jr. after the Lipinets loss. He was down, he was depressed, face was swollen. I don't know if he can do this anymore, and he's back in the ring. Victory already in a certain sense.
And here to give instructions, your referee, Sean McAvoy.
Okay, lads, 10-round contest. Keep it clean at all times. Keep yourself protected at all times. Touch gloves. Here we go. Good luck, lads.
As I said in the open, this is the kind of fight that defies the logic of boxing. Usually Javier Fortuna, former two-time world champion, thrown against a young buck, a 10-0 guy, to see if he can take on a name. These are two veterans who have been through a lot. In that case, Paulie, anything can happen.
Absolutely. You know, it's about who has more left here.
Also, both these guys will punch. We watch a lot of fighters tonight. They don't have a lot of knockouts. These two do.
And we are underway, round number 1 for our co-main event of the evening. Javier Fortuna in the black and gold. Robbie Davies Jr. out of Liverpool in the white, red, and gold. Question we've got to have answered early on, and we both said it. All of us have said it behind the scenes, Chris, that if Javier Fortuna wants to win, he has the desire to go with his experience. It's going to be a tough night for Davies Jr.
Yeah, I mean, and if he gets comfortable, he's already just landed a good overhand left. You know, he's got that tricky movement. He's fighting the southward position here. Very, very capable guy with a ton of experience.
A little hook there by Davies on the out.
Paulie, you talk about it all the time. This is the age, and this is the number of fights when you start going, do I really want to do this anymore, right? Am I mentally in the fight?
Yeah, and I don't think Lipinets, in the Lipinets fight, I mean, Davies showed us that he does want to do this. To be able to compete in a war like that at that age shows you, you know, you still have it in you. But yeah, from one fight to the next, you might lose that desire at that point. You know, you might say, man.
Robbie just got rocked on overhand left.
Fortuna, though, in the case of Fortuna, that's the thing, champ. Fortuna has these sneaky shots that can rock you out of nowhere. I think it's imperative for Davies to put Fortuna on the back foot and take away any possible desire he may have to want to fight tonight.
I'm already impressed with Fortuna's timing. He just threw a nice little check hook that just missed, but he threw it at a very dangerous time.
Headbutt. There's a clash of heads.
Blood.
Going down. That was a big clash.
Don't see any right now. Look like a headbutt, a little bit of a tackle there.
Blood on the cheek.
Just as you were saying, champ, Fortuna fighting the right way. Not a lot of volume, but precise with his attack.
Yeah, he's going to bring up every scrappy move that he has in the book tonight. You know, he's obviously very undersized. This is not his weight class, and Robbie's pretty big for this weight class.
That's also why Davies has to take away the time from Fortuna to take his time and be able to time things like that, you know?
4 losses in his career, 3 of them. Ryan Garcia, Jojo Diaz, Robert Easter Jr., all world-level fighters.
Heads came together again.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Lefty versus righty, it can't happen. But again, I'll reiterate what I was saying. I think Davies has to push Fortuna back. You give him time to think, he's going to start getting here time and getting those times.
That's what I said at the open. If he gets comfortable, he's a real problem. Very tricky stuff here from Fortuna. Just threw a nice little body shot on the inside, but they were tied up. Davies did a good job controlling the center of the ring.
Plays out, but I feel like the waiting game is advantage for Fortuna if it's like this.
And we make the fight physical, get in there, rough him up. When he boxes on the outside, you've got to disrupt him or else going to eat counter punches.
But even that, like Fortuna stepped on Robbie's foot, and that caused him to fall off balance.
Veteran stuff.
Lefty, righty, right?
10 seconds left to go in round number 1.
Good hook over the top from Davies.
Nice hook on the inside to punctuate the first round. Welcome back inside SSE Arena, our co-main event of the evening. Robbie Davies Jr. versus Javier Fortuna, and Fortuna trying to find his spots in round number 1.
You see some of the aggression from Davies here. You know, they were fighting off the ropes. A little stumble there. There was a headbutt right before that. Ugly, cheeky stuff there in round 1.
Right there was that, but throw underneath, right to the chin.
Second sight, right to.
The referee admonishing him for holding, and Fortuna just said, hey, he's holding me. This is my fault. Fortuna, of course, a little bit better from the outside. The fighter from the Dominican Republic.
These guys are going to clash heads again. You can just see it. They were careful here with the fight or something.
Leaping in and out.
Good body shot.
Another coming.
Tricky shot. Fortuna seems to, he got his legs underneath him in that first round. He's looking to fight a little more here. He's threw more. Oh, good left hand over the top.
Good timing on those shots, gentlemen.
That's why Davies has to keep pushing Fortuna's back. He can't give him the time to do that.
Yeah, but he's got to give him a little push and pull on the way in. He can't just rush in because you're seeing the timing there. Fortuna, he's timing him.
I feel like do all that stuff, like head movement and level changes and all that stuff and fainting, but mentally emphasis pressing. That could have been a headbutt there, but Fortuna's head was in the chest instead of the head of Davies. If Davies came up a little bit high, but if Davies would have come in low there, they would have priced heads there as well.
This is also something Fortuna has done, at this stage of his career. He'll make things ugly. He'll make it a little bit of a stink show, and then he'll sneak in a big shot.
Well, the thing, the more he confuses you, the more you end up waiting.
Yes.
Because he's awkward, and then the more you end up waiting,
and you don't get anything off.
Yeah, and also the more advantages he has, because he likes to be able to wait and select his punches.
Another thing, Chris, you were a wrestler, I was a wrestler. It's a different kind of energy you're using in there. Who do you think these grappling, let's just say it, these grappling positions, who do they favor?
It looks like it favors Fortuna. He looks more comfortable. He's been able, you can tell, he's able to relax and drop his weight. He'll just sit on the side.
And knows how to relax.
Straighten his legs out. Look where his position is. I always say when you see especially older fighters, when their legs fail them, they start to put themselves on the ropes themselves. We're not seeing that with Fortuna. Oh,
he's landing them wide catching shots. Davies talking, but he's not able to really land the shots that Fortuna's landing.
Confused.
And then Fortuna on the inside nullifies Davies by just creating this little wrestling match where you can't really see any shots. Body shot by Davies. That's why he's got to get off now.
Ryan Garcia, of course, dropping and finishing Javier Fortuna with a body shot when they fought.
Couple uppercuts inside by Davies. He's doing good here with the uppercuts.
He's making those punches very, very short. And he landed like 3 or 4 uppercuts on the inside, a good body shot as well. He's been landing really nice hooks over the top on the southpaw as Davies. Good shot and roll there.
You're seeing the veteran is comfortable in a lot of different positions. No surprise there. His shots and they end up tangling up. Maybe trying to end strong, but Javier Fortuna, gentlemen, you said it over and over and over. If Fortuna gets comfortable, looks pretty comfortable to me in these first couple rounds.
So far?
Yeah.
But then we got to see how his legs and his gas tank holds up. Yeah. Again, very high in weight for him. He hasn't been that active. I think he's had 1 win in the last couple of years, so we'll see how he goes, how he fares as the rounds go on.
And remember, he had trouble on the flight coming over here as well. That could be something that comes into play as the fight progresses. I like how Davies had a little bit of success later in that round as well. A couple uppercuts on the inside, a couple body shots. Let's see if there's more consistency to that as the fight progresses.
Another thing, veteran guys just know how to conserve energy. They know how to, it looks like they're working harder, but they're better at kind of keeping their gas.
Well, he's slowing the pace as well, so he's not expending a lot of energy.
All the tricks that make a veteran, gentlemen.
Corners 10 seconds.
Good combinations from Fortuna.
Tricky shot to the body, then there's that looping shot up
second sight,
to the head.
right 3.
Got the attention of Robbie.
Paulie, how hard is it to adjust to those kind of shots? You're not used to watching an orthodox fighter, an orthodox southpaw. Is it tough to adjust to that kind of style mid-fight?
Yeah, if you don't give him something to think about and you let him do that, because Fortuna will throw a lot of throwaway punches. And he'll throw a left hand down the middle as a throwaway punch. That way you don't expect the wide left hand that you saw in that replay that then he ends up landing. You know, so you got to keep him busy so that he's not able to keep you busy with those bunch of throwaway punches and all those deceptive moves that he has. How you keep him busy? For me, you got to press him. He's older. You got to question the legs. Like I said, he's coming from a fight from the Dominican Republic that had to be turned back around before he got here. So, you know, you put him in a position where you have to test out his legs as the fight progresses.
And nowhere near making weight. That loopy left hand, man, it's hard to see. The arc on it, very, very difficult to catch.
You know, we keep saying that Fortuna is older, you know, and I've been saying the same thing. They're actually the same age.
They're the same age.
They're the same age. Obviously, Davies is a little bit fresher, obviously staying busier, more momentum than Fortuna at this stage of his career, but very different career arcs.
28 total fights for Robbie Davies Jr. 43 for Javier Fortuna. It ain't the years, honey, it's the mileage, as a great man once said.
But again, you know, we mentioned the very tough fight that Robbie's coming off, that Sergey Lipinets fight. Those kind of fights, 10-round war like that, with a guy you can really punch, that can take a lot out of you as well.
Yeah, both guys staggered, both guys down in that fight.
You can see that when they're body to body, Davies have pushed back Fortuna. So you can see that Fortuna is a smaller guy. He came up in weight, physically stronger, physical strength advantages for Davies. Now, can he create the space to have the advantages on the inside is another question. He's done it at times. He needs to be consistent. Otherwise, these are just rest points for Fortuna.
Yeah, he's not trying to pummel in. It's a great point. He's pretty much resting against the ropes.
And he's not trying to throw any hard shots either. So this is a very, very different fight than the fight against Sergey Lipinets. Lipinets were fought at range. Both guys were boxing. This is a much scrappier contest.
Just a little bit as a fighter from the Dominican Republic.
Fortuna kind of kept trying to catch Davies coming. But let's see if the consistent pressure pays off for Davies as the rounds progress.
It also might be paying off in terms of the judging. It's easy to see who's pulling forward, and right now it's Robbie Davies Jr.
Good left hand over the top from Davies.
Grappling in this round. Welcome back, ProBox TV fans. We are overseas for the first show with Comlin Boxing here in Belfast, Northern Ireland. You're looking at Javier Fortuna, two-division world champion. He got mauled a lot in that second round, not by punches, by the body of Robbie Davies Jr.
Yeah, Davies using that physical advantage, the size advantage to push Fortuna up against the ropes and land some good shots on the inside. Round for Robbie Davies Jr. as he's able to land some shots on the inside. Nothing huge, but still getting some work done.
Yeah, Fortuna has done some good work with some power shots from that southpaw stance, just like that.
And when there's space, Fortuna has the advantage. You can see right at that mid-long range, Fortuna gets that wide catching shots. But as Davies closes the gap, it makes it physical, starts to work on the inside, and that's where I think Davies has to keep the real estate. Good jab there by Davies, though.
With a style like Fortuna, you have to be able to read your opponent's offense. He's still very, very good at that.
Fortuna's going to have to land one of these big shots, get some respect from the bigger man.
And does his power translate up as well?
And the fact that he throws a lot of punches you don't see can translate against a bigger man. But how long can he keep this up? That's the question.
suggestions around the legs of Javier Fortuna. And he's relaxed and punching well from the outside. He's at least controlling the pace.
Yeah, he's got his hands moving here this round so far. And again, at this range, at this distance, he's got the advantage. Davies just can't, just doesn't have the foot speed or the hand speed.
And you just see the frustration. He just kind of went,
Damn, this guy's good.
The only thing is that at Fortuna's age and at this elevated weight, he's probably not able to do that every second of the round. And it's up to Davies to get to make it a physical match, push him back to the ropes.
Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, they told me you were shot, Frazier. Frazier said, they told you wrong, pretty boy. Similar thing here. You thought Javier Fortuna was done. He's definitely showing that is not the case.
Davies needs to be careful, and I don't think he should go punch for punch because he's getting obviously outworked here. He's the better puncher. He should be throwing some hard shots in the middle there. Catch the older or more shot-born fighter. See if he can get some respect and do some damage.
I think it's appropriate to say older, just in the fights he's been through. He's just been through more fights against better talent.
We keep saying it. I keep saying older, even though he's
older
not.
in boxing, let's put it that way. Wide stance, ready to throw that straight left hand.
Fortuna's done a good job with his legs this round. Hasn't gotten caught on the inside too much. So when the majority of the round is going to be at this distance, it's going to be a Fortuna round. And it's been a good round for Fortuna.
And he's so good at the move and shoot, right? Just like this, an angle out. He doesn't stay to admire his work, whether he lands or not. Robbie Davies Jr. being tested in this fight. Not necessarily physically, but his fight IQ being tested tonight, right? He has to figure out the next move of the chess player. Is that accurate, gentlemen?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a few years ago, Robbie Davies Jr. fought Hank Lundy, who was a similar type guy, smaller guy, southpaw, very, very tricky. Blasted him out in 2 rounds. That shows you the levels that are at there. Hank Lundy was never world champion. This guy's two-division world champion, and he's showing how tricky he can be even this advanced age.
Fortuna will take something less in order not to get hit big himself. He'll take it is a good jab by Davies, but otherwise it was a Fortuna round.
Corners 10 seconds.
Give it Truck credit. They only found the one highlight that Davies had all around. Pretty interesting.
Second sight, round 5.
Yeah, he got his hands moving that round. He took some power off and was letting his hands go, landed some combinations.
Exactly. You finished my thought. Perfect. It made me forget it with that replay. I was dumbfounded by what the truck found from last round. but yes, exactly. He'll take some stuff off the shots in order not just to set you up for bigger shots, but also to prevent you from landing your own big shots. Because when you take stuff off the shots, you're not overcommitting to put yourself in danger as well. So he does that very, very well in a sneaky fashion.
And he's just tricky enough, so it makes you keep your hands at home when he throws his light shots on you.
And if you vary it just enough, you don't know when he's going to come with the hard shots or the tough shots. So, like you said, keep your hands at home.
And at least in the lighter weight classes, he had power in his prime. So as soon as you're asleep, as soon as you're not thinking about it, boom, that's when the power shot comes.
Yeah, and he's had knockouts that wins like that.
Oh yeah. He's always a good finisher too. When he hurts you, you go for it.
Davies, I tell you what, he's got to close that gap. He's got to pull his way forward, close that gap one way or another.
Seems content right now to stay at the outside and look for counter-punching opportunities.
That's flash again.
Right here is what Davies has to work. You can't allow for nothing to happen so that the referee breaks him, but then he's got to start over again in terms of closing the gap. You want to keep Fortuna busy because you don't know, maybe he can tire him out or wear him out.
Oh, nice shot coming in. Perhaps the best shot of the fight for Robbie Davies Jr.
That's definitely been the most effective punch for him today, has been the left hand. Then Fortuna comes back with 2 good shots of his own.
One thing about the Sergey Lipinets fight, if you remember it, you check it out on ProBox TV. If you've not seen it, it was an instant classic. But there were a few times when Davies Jr. had Lipinets hurt and just couldn't follow up enough to get him out of there. Now, credit to Lipinets' chin, but also he didn't have the gas for that sustained attack.
Right. Also, Lipinets was smart. He went down to the body quite a bit. He put Davies down with a really, really bad body shot. So he was attacking the gas tank as well. Lipinet's another former champion.
Good
shot.
Fortuna came up. See, that's what I'm saying. When you start to press, you start to create mistakes. You start to fatigue the guy. And I think like this is what Davies needs to do. At this distance, even if it's not always super effective, it keeps Fortuna worrying and working, and eventually it'll create pressure bust pipes.
And also, Fortuna's not throwing big shots in here. Like in the middle distance, he was getting hit with some big shots from Fortuna because they're tricky. But on the inside, he just doesn't have the power or the strength.
Him on the back foot, Fortuna can't really get anything on the shot.
20 seconds left to the halfway point of this fight. I think Robbie Davies Jr. is having more success in this round.
Yeah.
Maybe slowing down a little bit.
You can judge this fight based on the distance. If this is this fought at this distance right here, then if the fight's fought at this distance right here, then Davies has the advantage. If the fight is fought at middle to long distance for the majority of the round, it will probably be a Fortuna round. This is Dana Davies.
Welcome back inside SSC Arena. Javier Fortuna taking on Robbie Davies Jr. We're at the halfway point of this fight, scheduled for 10. A lot of action last round, but a lot of it, just like you said, Paulie, at close quarters for Robbie Davies
10
Jr.
seconds.
Yeah, and that was the thing. If you keep Fortuna working, you'll eventually be able to close that gap. And that's the thing. You saw there, Fortuna did land a shot or two here.
Right,
Just sort of Davies. And what it is, you keep Fortuna working, and eventually Davies is able to just close that gap. If you let Fortuna land a shot here and there, and it freezes you, or it makes you stop the pressure, then Fortuna has all the time in the world.
Round number 6 is where we'll start seeing who has the gas to finish this fight strong. Javier Fortuna, as Paulie informed you earlier on his flight here, there was a medical emergency. They had to turn the plane around, go back to the Dominican Republic. So he couldn't get here in time, couldn't make weight. A lot of stumbling blocks leading into this fight. And you have to assume he doesn't have a full gas tank.
And that's one reason why I would, or you would expect Robbie Davies to pick it up here in the second half of this fight.
Also, I think by this point, you've noticed that when you do pick it up, you put Fortuna in a comfortable position. So I think you're in round 6 now. It's not just started. You sort of realize that this is what you should be fighting at to have your best success, and the rhythm that you should be fighting at to have your best success.
Let's talk about the motivation of Robbie Davies Jr. He's lost 2 in a row. You know about the classic against Lipinets, but before that, broke his ankle against Foley in 2023. Remember that one?
That was hard to watch.
Yeah, hard to watch.
Yeah, he got dropped, and then he went down again, and he rolled his ankle and snapped it. Had to have surgery immediately after that fight. Went through a long rehab, but came back successfully.
2 in a row is still 2 in a row. He knows he can't afford to lose tonight.
And when I say successfully, I don't mean that because he didn't win, but his performance in that fight was fantastic.
Didn't have any problems with the ankle that we could see.
No, not at all.
You called it, Paulie, at the outside at medium range. It is definitely Javier Fortuna's fight.
This range, Davies just went back. I don't know if he's cut from a headbutt or from a punch, but he just cut above the right eye, Robbie Davies.
They spent a lot of time with their heads touching.
The referee did not signal it was because of a clash of heads, so it's officially a cut from a punch.
Yeah, he has been getting hit with those overhand lefts as well. Oh, yeah. Yep.
That's a nice one.
Wouldn't be a Robbie Davies Jr. fight if there wasn't some blood.
No, now we know it's Robbie Davies' fight. I wasn't quite sure up until this point. Once again, if the referee doesn't say that it's because of a headbutt, it's not because of a headbutt. It doesn't matter what the replay shows, what the ref sees.
Yeah, one should assume a legal shot, not an accidental headbutt.
We'll see at the end of the round. Sometimes they make the call at the end of the round. Sometimes they confer with the commission.
Yeah, sometimes they do. Yeah, don't know how it works here in Ireland.
Seems like it woke Davies up, though. Now that you see some blood, he's starting to throw some punches, landed a nice right hand a few moments ago.
It also gives the veteran Fortuna a target to work on, and he will.
And that is the bread and butter of Davies' that right hand. Nice head movement here. Davies was able to avoid some of those shots.
Rolling under the power left hand of the southpaw Fortuna.
Fortuna doing a good job of smothering on the inside, though.
ProBox TV coming to you from the SSE Arena. Right here in Belfast, Northern Ireland. Robbie Davies Jr. from Liverpool being tended to in his corner. A cut over the right eye caused by the power punches of Javier
Corners,
Fortuna,
10 seconds.
two-division world champion. Let's see if we can take a look at that last round.
Yeah, you see Robbie Davies starting to land some of those shots from the outside.
Second sight.
Could have been from that clash of heads.
That's the side he's cut on as well.
Yeah, their heads were coming together quite a bit.
They were, but so far no signal from the referee that I am aware of. So we have to assume it will be treated as a cut from a punch. And round number 7 scheduled for 10.
Once again, that middle distance, you see Fortuna lands that left hand down the middle, comes back another jab there.
Fortuna, the smaller man, did not make weight because of problems with his flight. So far, his gas has held up in the back half of this fight.
It hasn't been a crazy pace either.
No, it has not.
He's been able to manage a good left hand there by Fortuna. Again, at this range, he's able to land those sneaky shots. You see Davies pushing down on the head, and what's Fortuna do intelligently?
Take a knee. Don't fight it. Take a knee. No resistance. Just take the knee.
I'm not gonna hold that weight up. I'm not gonna hold that weight up. I'm taking a knee.
Those little savvy ring tactics that a 40-plus fight veteran has.
But right now looks manageable. His over the eye doesn't seem to be obscuring the vision of Robbie Davies Jr.
Yeah, small cut. It seems like it's more outside the eye, eyebrow, so not going to bleed into the eye too badly. Also, I believe he's been cut there before, so scar tissue.
But it's also exactly where that overhand left has been landing for Javier Fortuna. Fortuna's going to open that thing up.
Which surprisingly, since the cut is open, he has some throwing. You would think that would be the shot that he'd be looking for with that target, the new target. Oh, good left hand.
Nice.
Popping shot.
Davies, yeah.
Good deal. We're seeing Fortuna just slow down just a little bit in this round 7.
And if you're Davies, you want to keep him busy here. You know, Fortuna's landing some decent shots on the outside here this round, but so is Davies. Nobody getting real thought on the shots, though.
No.
Nothing huge.
You can tell Davies is a little uncomfortable. He's not letting those hands go with ferocity.
4 rounds left, a minute left in this round number 7. Fortuna now turning it up.
I would love to see Robbie Davies go down to the body and go heavy. Whenever I had trouble finding a guy upstairs, I always go down low, especially you got an older guy who looks a little softer on the midsection.
Yeah, I was wondering why he wasn't doing more of that when they were on the inside earlier, especially knowing you got this older, grizzled veteran who needs his legs to beat you, take him away. A lot of wrestling, a lot of lift and tuck here on the inside, a lot of shots that you really can't tell who's getting the better of the exchanges, right?
Yeah, but it's not heavy on either side. It's a really touching shot.
It's kind of dull like this stuff.
Chippy there from Javier Fortuna, giving the push at the end of the round.
At this pace, I mean, Fortuna, he's not even really breathing hard. It's not like he's going back to the corner and is exhausted from working.
3 rounds left. Fortuna's gas so far has looked comparatively good. But I think in that last round, Robbie Davies Jr. able to make it a little bit more of that inside brawling, mauling kind of fight. Holly, you talked about it. You need legs to keep distance. How will his legs hold up as we begin round number 8? Big question for Javier Fortuna.
Corners, 10 seconds.
A lot of inside fighting, Paulie, in this last round.
Yeah, there was a good timing shot there by Davies.
Second sight, right it.
Wide left hands that have been occasionally effective for Fortuna, but he's not he's not always putting everything on them. You know, again, sometimes he's just looking to shoot them as scoring shots.
But the question we had going in, Chris, about his will to succeed, especially if the fight was difficult, it has not been an easy fight, and Fortuna has been in it the entire time. He's not mentally out of this fight.
Yeah, it's because of the pace. You know, Robbie Davies has allowed him to get into this fight. He allowed him early on to get in the fight, and he's allowing him to stay in this fight. He's not pushing a pace on the older fighter. He's not hitting the body. He's not really being aggressive.
Right hand.
Beautiful right hand. That looked like a rock Fortuna.
Probably the best shot of the night,
Yeah, literally, from either guy.
This fight.
But that's what I meant earlier. A few rounds ago, just throw the shots hard. I mean, you're the better puncher. You're the bigger man.
See, a little hesitant. He tried to close the gap, then he held back on the trigger with the right hand. He knows the sneakiness that Fortuna has. But again, that's why you probably just want to press.
Good right hand.
Good right hand again from Davies.
Now Davies committing to those punches. Javier Fortuna says, "Come get me."
Davies landing a couple of good right hands this round that kind of get your attention, and they kind of are very eye-catching.
And they're right on the money, man. They land right on the chin. Those are good shots.
Yeah, Fortuna's, this is not his weight class, so could feel those kind of shots.
That's one thing about Davies. You know, he's not a huge puncher, but he's always pretty accurate. You know, he lands really clean, puts the punches where they're supposed to be.
Wrestling Fortuna into the corner, but how can he use it?
Good attempt there to the body, just shy.
Strafing body shot.
You see Davies a little bit at a time starting to take control of this fight, and more so the pace of it.
Nice right hook over the top, though.
Slapping right hook.
But you see Fortuna again. I think Fortuna also needs to throw something a little harder as well to try to take away the control from Davies. Davies now realizes there's nothing to fear here. I can sort of be as push around with as much muscle as I want. He's starting to sit down more on his shots, as we saw with a couple of right hands that he threw this round. So I think it's up to Fortuna now if he's going to try to make a move to try to push for this fight. He's going to have to take some chances.
This is the first time I've seen Fortuna look uncomfortable. He doesn't look like he wants to be here in this round.
And you see Davies is sensitive because he's up there a little bit here. A lot of wrestling on the inside there.
And that is so fatiguing to go from that striking to wrestling.
Very, very different energy systems.
Put a wrestler in a boxing ring, they start dying. Put a boxer in a wrestling ring, they start dying. First thing you
put a lion in the ocean against a shark, and vice versa.
Wondering about the foundation of Javier Fortuna. Does he have the will? Does he have the gas? Go 10 rounds with the always tough Robbie Davies Jr. And we're starting to see some cracks in that foundation last couple rounds, Chris.
Yeah, up until now, he's looked very, very, very scrappy. He's looked good. He hasn't used a lot of energy. He looked very comfortable. Not that last round. That last round, Davies was able to land some big shots to the chin, was able to put some more pressure and kind of muscle him around. You're starting to see Fortuna starting to hold a little bit.
Might be a battle of wills for the rest of this fight. Scheduled for 10. We are in round number 9. Javier Fortuna in the black and gold. Robbie Davies Jr. in the white, red, and gold.
And Jimmy, you mentioned the battle of wills, but sometimes at this age, you don't know how much will you got left. So Fortuna is going to have to show if it is a battle of wills. Good uppercuts and solar plexus there by Fortuna. Fortuna has, if there's a battle of wills, Fortuna's got to show that he's on to win it right now if he's going to make a play for it.
Robbie Davies Jr., the fighter from Liverpool, but probably have a crowd support tonight. Fortuna from the Dominican Republic, you got to work hard to get a decision. It looks like where we might be going. Neither fighter rocked. There have been no knockdowns in this fight scheduled for 10.
Yeah, it's been a lot of what you're seeing right here. A lot of roughhousing on the inside, wrestling back and forth. trying to get themselves to position. Not a lot of big shots landed by either man.
Fortuna going straight back, was angling well earlier in the fight. Now going straight back in the ropes. He called it, Chris. He said, sometimes your legs, you got to use those ropes.
Yep. You see guys putting themselves in the ropes more and more when the legs give away.
Short left from Robbie Davies Jr. Counter to the overhand right.
Fortuna found a home for that little shuttle punch to the solar plexus right down the middle. Just threw 3 more of them.
At this point, Fortuna should put more into those, you know? Score knockdowns with those shots if you throw them hard enough.
And we've seen Davies down to the body before in the Lipinets fight. He's been hurt to the body.
Now a little more bounce in the step of Javier Fortuna.
You know, I mean, you get to the point in the fight where you got to ask yourself, okay, what's the future for these guys? You know, I mean, Fortuna, he seems like, you know, he's coming to the end. He knows how to move around. Maybe he's journeyman to do, right? In that way, gatekeeper.
Like low-level gatekeeper at this point.
Davies has lost 2 fights in a row, but they've been crowd pleasers, right? Especially the Lipinets fans, very crowd pleasing. Tonight, not so much. You know, he's going to get back on the win column, but what do you take out of it? You know, what do you go from it?
Oh, bad headbutt.
We've had a few of those.
Nice short right hand.
Oh, another one.
As Fortuna's slowing down a bit. Robbie Davies Jr. is trying to find his range. Couple of good right hands for the Scouser.
You pose a good question, Chad. What is next for these guys?
But nothing shown here is they're going to move on to. You know, sometimes on ProBox TV, we get guys that, you know, win in style and they wind up in championship fights. You know, it doesn't seem like the result of this fight is going to lead to anything like that for the winner of this fight.
Yeah, Javier Fortuna has been fighting for his career at this point. Like I said, he's only lost to the best.
At this point, Jimmy, I would dare say both are fighting for their career.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Can argue both of them.
Davies having lost 2 in a row, he needs to win.
Coming up on the 10th and final round. Last couple rounds, it's been Robbie Davies Jr. doing just enough, I think, to edge it out on the scorecards.
Yeah, I mean, Champ mentioned it perfectly early on. When the fight was at longer distance, it was Fortuna, especially early on. But as the fight wears on, we're seeing more and more of the inside chippy stuff. And just the better, cleaner shots are being landed by Davies these last few rounds.
Robbie Davies Jr. cut around his right eye. So far has not been a factor in the fight. More mauling in the last round, but it seems like Fortuna got a little bit of distance there.
Yeah, we saw a nasty headbutt once again. That was like on the nose of Davies. Took that well, but that was a hard headbutt.
Respect shown by both fighters as we begin the 10th and final round. Here in our co-main event here in ProBox TV. Remember, the main event still to come. It's going to be a banger. Do not go anywhere.
Blood from the nose of Davies. Fortuna came out with a hard, straight jab right on that nose that got headbutted last round. So now we got blood from the nose for Davies, which that nose was severely damaged in that Sergey Lipinets fight last time out.
Smashed across his face. You remember it well.
That was a fight, though.
Oh,
This fight left a lot to be desired when compared to the Lipinets fight. But then again, it's something to live up to that, right?
High bar set by that fight, gentlemen.
I think I still have blood on one of my suits from that.
That's another bad clash of heads.
There were some bad ones early on. We got some bad ones late.
To be expected with 2 fighters with this style, opposite stances. The fighter from Dominican Republic, Javier Fortuna, a champ in 2 different weight classes. I wonder why his weight is so heavy. There were problems with the flight, could not make weight. Robbie Davies Jr., to his credit, said, I'll fight anyway.
Yeah, they ended up making the fight, which, you know, salvaged
we were
the
worried,
event on the card, but a little bit leaving left to be desired. In Davies' defense, Fortuna is always a difficult guy to look good against.
Especially at this stage of his career. You know, he's really just setting traps like this. Good shots there from Fortuna.
Oh, nice uppercut.
Oh,
good combination for the first time. It looks like Robbie Davies Jr. might be hurt. They're calling that a knockdown.
Champ, you mentioned how he should put some more leather on, put some more stink on those shots. There he did
He's
it.
going to regret it. He waited until round 10 to do it.
Yep. Just over 1 minute left in the final round.
Davies Davies making like it shouldn't have been a knockdown. He wasn't hurt, but then he reacted
hurt,
after the count. He reacted like he's hurt, like he's running all over the ring, still trying to survive.
Yeah, he got hit with like 4 or 5 good hard shots.
Up high.
Power was the last thing to go, gentlemen.
But if you notice, he was too up high in that exchange when he went down. He took 2, 3, 4 shots and he stayed up high.
And square. Yeah, it's very square on the inside.
And he's looking to hold on. 45 seconds left in the last round.
Yeah, I mean, Fortuna and his team, they're going to have to look back at this fight and be like, man, why didn't I do this 3 rounds ago?
Yeah. Well, that's why part of the reason why you go to end up in journeyman build. Because, you yourself stop trying to win the way you should be trying to win. As you can see here, Fortuna should have been doing this a few rounds ago. And now he's going to run out of time.
Yeah, Davies really is just completely disengaging. He's not throwing any punches, just trying to stay away.
Wipeout final round. Of course, the question is, will that be enough on the scorecards to give Javier Fortuna the win? Great
Davies
round.
Still looks a little rocked.
He does. Great fight in that 10th round, but is it enough? And if it's not, to your point, Paulie, this corner will be going, man, we could have done that in round 7.
Yeah, exactly. He himself is going to be thinking that. Remember, even when you fight out as a journeyman, that's where your career is going to wind up. You win, you're worth more next time regardless, you know? So when you can steal one, you got to try to get them, you know?
And now, ladies and gentlemen, after 10 hard-fought rounds, we go to the referee's scorecard. Ladies and gentlemen, referee Sean McAvoy has scored this bout 95-94 in favor of your winner, Robbie Davies Jr.
Great knockdown in round 10, but too little too late.
96-94 means he lost 6 rounds to 4. If he would have gave just a little bit of effort, he would have won this fight.
Disappointing loss, but a win that was much needed for Robbie Davies Jr.
I mean, Fortuna is, everything we said in the open about him turned out to be true.
Right.
The guy is very, very tricky. If you let him get comfortable, he's going to give you hell all night long, and he certainly did, especially in that last round. But impressive performance, you know, being tricky. But Davies, man, he scraped by this one, keeps his career alive.
Jerry, is what you said. The corner's going to be asking themselves, what if? And he's going to be asking himself, what if?
What if that fight didn't get turned around? What if, you know?
Oh, yeah, that's a lot more. Then you're really going down the rabbit hole.
But gentlemen, you don't want to get killed for lack of shooting back, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to think there are punches I could have thrown that I didn't get, because round number 10 belonged to Javier Fortuna.
I always tell fighters, don't ever wake up on Sunday and thought or wish you did more on Saturday night. Or in this case, Saturday on Friday night.
Right. It's very, very true that if you lose to a better guy, you lose to a better guy. You can walk off the mat or out of the ring with your head held high.
Jimmy, both of these guys are at similar points in their careers. You know, they've had a tough career. You know, I know Fortuna's been at a higher ground with world championships. But Davies has been a sort of a hard luck guy who's been on the fringe his whole career too, and been in some tough fights. So it was, you know, it was a similar point in their careers, which made the fight interesting on paper. As it played out, it ended up being a bit dull, but it was close, and I felt like Fortuna gave it away.
Robbie Davies Jr. right now in front of our desk talking to Chris and Paulie about his performance. Said we got sucked into the kind of game that Javier Fortuna wanted to play. We agree completely. Very tough fight, but he ends up getting the win. Some frustration from Robbie Davies Jr., but he got the win.
Yeah, and it's frustrating to deal with a guy like Fortuna. We said it from the start. He's a tricky, awkward guy. It's not easy to look good against him.
Against the fighter that makes you look bad, the only thing you can do is win.
And I think a lot of what happened this week, I think you're thinking you're fighting a guy who hasn't been that active, who hasn't been, you know, in the gym as much.
That's a good point.
You're thinking about, oh, this guy's coming in on 3 days notice. Oh, he's coming in on 2 days notice now because of the plane. You start to get into that mindset like, yeah, this guy's not as serious as I am. Then it turns out he is. Now you're in a fight you didn't expect.
And our main event coming up, Padraig McCrory versus Leonard Carrillo. The local fighter, McCrory, taking on the power-punching Colombian. The light heavyweight division is scheduled for 10 rounds. Coming up, don't go anywhere on ProBox TV.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we introduce our main event, we want to let you know that there is one final bout after the main event, so stick around. Make sure you see all the boxing action here tonight at the SSE Arena. And now introducing the fighters in our main event of the evening. Starting out with the red corner from Barcelona, Catalunya, España. Demos la bienvenida a Leonard Carrillo.
Tail of the tape for our main event, 10 rounds in the light heavyweight division. Only 1 year difference in age. Slight height advantage for Padraig McCrory. The reach also belonging to the fighter from Belfast, Northern Ireland. Weight almost identical. What's not on this page is the power punching ability of Carrillo. See the Colombian right there, 17 wins, 16 by knockout. If there's a sleeper spoiler, it is this man.
Oh yeah, and Paulie and I noticed at the weigh-in, super cool, calm and collected, also a little chippy. Like this guy's coming here to win.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing, fighting out of the blue corner, give it up for Padraig, the Hammer McCrory.
Look at those odds. Padraig McCrory minus 5,000 over Leonard Carrillo. I see you taking out your phone right now, Chris, because those odds are crazy.
Crazy.
I mean, you could be calling somebody. I'm not trying to out you. I'm just saying those odds are nuts.
Yes. I mean, yeah, they're nuts. Like, even putting $100 down is smart. The guy can punch. What are you going to do? It's boxing.
Also, let's talk about the mental factor. Right now, Padraig McCrory coming off the first loss of his career, a knockout loss to Edgar Berlanga. That tends to sting a little bit, Paulie.
Yeah, you know, you realize what Berlanga won after that win, so you think to yourself, wow, what if I would have won that fight? Especially the way Canelo's been picking opponents lately. You never know. If he'd have beat Berlanga, maybe he'd have wind up in that fight.
And well, one thing we keep talking about the power punching of Carrillo. Padraig, even though his record doesn't show it, he can punch too. He's got a good right hand.
When I was watching the Berlanga fight to study for this fight, one of the things the announcer said that I agreed with, he said, he's not a knockout puncher, but he's strong. He's a strong guy. This is a guy who fought at 175 pounds.
And
won the, I believe, the IBO title at 175.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for your
He's a big light heavyweight.
main event of the evening. This round is scheduled for 10 rounds in the light heavyweight division. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the red corner He wears the red and black trunks. He weighed in at 178.4 pounds. His record, 17 wins, 5 losses with 16 wins by knockout. De Barcelona, Cataluña, España, demos la bienvenida a Leonard Carrillo. And here he is fighting out of the blue corner on my right, wearing the green, black, and orange trunks. He weighed in at 171.4 pounds. His record, 18 wins, just 1 loss with 9 wins by knockout. Born and bred in Belfast, give it up for Padraig, the Hammer McCrory. And here to give instructions, your referee, Hugh Russell Jr.
Okay, boxers, I suppose you're supposed to change it. You know what I expect. Keep it clean, protect yourselves at all times. Touch gloves.
Hear the chants of the crowd for Paddy McCrory. That is his name. That's what everybody calls him. Ready to get it on at 175 pounds.
Second sight, round 1.
And here we go, round number 1. And Carrillo, the fighter from Colombia, in the black and red. Paddy McCrory in the gray, black, and orange.
McCrory, you can see the hurtful punches he's coming out throwing right away. He doesn't want to give the chance for this big puncher to get any confidence coming forward or any confidence in anything he does. So you start to back up a puncher, and a lot of times he becomes less effective of a puncher.
In that way, it's kind of similar to our co-main event with Robert Davies Jr. and Javier Fortuna. You don't want to get that guy comfortable where he can give you a tough night.
And also don't want to open yourself up to a puncher.
Yeah, you can see McCrory can punch. He's a physical, like you mentioned, Jimmy, physically strong guy.
If you wonder where Carrillo's confidence comes from, there was a 5-fight stretch where his opponents were combined 65-3.
Oh, these body shots that McCrory just landed. 2 straight right hands deep into the solar plexus.
Putting water in the basement, as Teddy Atlas would say.
There's that right hook. I told you about that right hook from Carrillo.
Yeah, it's a guy who can throw both hands very effectively from the southpaw stance. Is a great right hook over the top.
And then he uses that right hook to land the left. And he's another one. He throws everything with bad intentions.
He's used to being on the B side in Russia, Poland, Germany, facing undefeated fighters. His last loss was to a 15-0 fighter.
Oh, ref is down.
Goes the ref.
It's all right, ref
Good
is up.
roll from the ref.
No count from the ref.
That was smooth. That was smooth.
Thought I was back in WWE for a second. Referee would go out, chair would go in.
You see, the boxing refs are more sturdy. The referee will go down in WWE. They're out for like 10 minutes.
Well, he also gets hit with chairs.
Yeah.
It's a little different here.
Tough guys. Both guys showing that they have power in their hands. It's about getting respect early. I think both these guys have gotten their opponent's respect.
You know, a term that kept getting brought up this week is we got a shootout. And we're seeing that. Both these guys are sharpshooters. Both these guys have big power.
Oh! Good shot! 2! Boom! Down goes Carrillo.
Very well-timed counter by McCrory.
7, 8.
Big swing and a miss from Carrillo. And Paddy came right back with a very nicely timed shot.
Caught him off balance. Carrillo doesn't look hurt, but McCrory trying to follow up with power shots yet again.
Oh, good body shot. Oh!
What a left
now
hand!
McCrory's hurt. Wow.
Oh! Big right hook.
This one hurt him. McCrory in big trouble. 20 seconds left to go in round number 1.
Carrillo's going for it. Big looping shots. Even these block shots hurt.
Yeah, he's going to
McCrory
survive,
waving him
though.
on.
He's going to survive. He stayed calm at least. McCrory
He stayed calm, he's still countering.
Yep, McCrory intelligently stayed calm.
Veteran poise, Paulie,
Yep.
kept McCrory in this fight.
Yep.
McCrory wobbled back to the corner.
But this is why minus 5,000 is out of their mind.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that was no disrespect to McCrory. It was none. It was respect to Carrillo. We watched this guy. We saw how dangerous he is. First round, we saw why.
This is one of those guys, when you look at when you're doing the study, you look at Carrillo's fights and you go you make one of those faces. God, this guy can hit, right? I mean, this guy's no pushover. I don't know what's in the water in Colombia. Those guys can hit.
Yeah, they're all strong.
I want to see if we get the replay first of the McCrory knockdown, because the McCrory knockdown, some of it may have been balanced because Carrillo missed a big left hand that kind of blew him over a little bit. Let's see here. See if we get it.
I think this is.
And the miss takes him in the same direction that he goes down. See,
Corners 10 seconds.
Shot. Yeah.
Kind of why maybe he was complaining on when he got.
That's why he got up and said disagreed.
And then this shot right.
Second take. Right
the hook does land there, but then the big shot by Carrillo. Man.
Carrillo's dangerous because he punches with you. He's very confident in his power. He doesn't mind
goes whatever too.
Yeah. Well, he can punch with both hands. Southpaws usually are so left-hand dominant. Not this guy.
Behind the scenes in combat sports, we call him an effort kind of fighter.
Yeah.
He's that kind of guy. All right, I'm going to throw what I've got.
Paulie and I said that at the weigh-in yesterday. Looking at his body language, you're like, oh, this guy's just, he's so relaxed.
Yeah.
He's dangerous.
Yeah, he's having a good time here.
Once again, fought in hostile territory, Poland, Russia, Germany.
He's stalking McCrory with hands down, throwing everything hard. Swelling on the right eye, though.
Leaving a lot of openings, though, for McCrory with those big looping shots. McCrory did land a nice counter right hand at the end of the last round while he was still hurt. So staying aware, even while being hurt. Nice.
Nice right hand. That staggered, stiffened up McCrory for a second.
Sometimes those looping shots are hard to see. They leave your field of vision. They wrap around your gloves.
And also,
so you'll have your hands up and they'll still hurt you.
And also, McCrory tries to counter with the right hand, but he's got to be careful not to lower his left hand when he's doing that, because a lot of times that's when Carrillo's coming with his right hook.
But look, Carrillo, the boss in round number 2 for sure. He flipped the script at the end of round 1.
Are you hearing these body shots? Carrillo has power, man. He's got heavy hands. We can hear these ringside. They are thudding shots.
I'll never forget what Sugar Ray Leonard said about Roberto Duran, Manos de Piedra. He goes, everywhere he hit me, it hurt. Hurt me in the gloves, it hurt. Hurt me in the elbow. My arms were killing me for days. Similar kind of thing here. Carrillo just throwing, doesn't care if he blocks.
Big straight left hand down the middle from Carrillo once again.
And we talked about how, McCrory wanted to get off to a fast start so you don't give the puncher like Carrillo a chance to get confident. Well, now he got confident. He hurt you.
Yeah, a little bit of showboating there from Carrillo.
Also, this pace is good for a puncher like Carrillo.
And not making him work a lot with his legs.
Yeah, because now what it is, McCrory's also thinking about what he's going to throw. But remember, in the first round, he came out, really aggressive. Now he's getting hurt. He kind of thinks about it.
But, gentlemen, Chris, do you forget to box? When you get hit with a big shot, you just want to give a big one back. You kind of forget to box your way back in it.
I didn't, but
certain guys do.
Some guys do. Yeah.
I actually think
when you're a puncher,
he's making McCrory box, but he's waiting too long now.
Yeah.
I think he's got a lot more respect for Carrillo than he did in round 1. Yeah. In round 1, he came out throwing big shots right away, trying to back up Carrillo. Now, he's not as enthusiastic about doing that, and it's been Carrillo coming forward. So I think he's actually trying to box, but he's more so waiting too much.
Carrillo getting a little cheeky in there. But I like that. It shows his confidence. I wasn't bullied by this crowd. I'm not intimidated by you.
Yeah, he's used to fighting on the road. Yep. And not to mention, so for people at home, he's Colombian, but he trains in Spain. Yep. So it's not that far away. It's not like he had a long trip to get here.
Yep. We are back, round number 3 of what has been an action-packed main event. Leonard Carrillo knocked down in round number 1 and then wobbled McCrory end of round 1, but power punches once again on display with the Colombians in round 2.
You said it, Jimmy. He was the boss in round 2. He was coming forward the whole time, throwing the big shots, pinning McCrory on the ropes, showboating a bit, rolling his shoulders, having fun in there.
Round 3 scheduled for 10 in our main event, light heavyweight division.
Oh, nice body shot from McCrory and a right hand upstairs.
Yeah, I think he came back to get his respect after that. But you realize he couldn't let Carrillo get as comfortable as he let him get around 2.
He's got to go careful going straight back. Carrillo's too long. Every time McCrory goes straight back.
One of the things, guys, this is a guy who will sacrifice his balance for power.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
He's been off every time he throws a power shot.
Which is also why he has the record he has.
Yeah.
16 KOs and 17 wins, and he's been stopped 3 of his 5 losses.
Right.
Oh, good body shot from Carrillo.
Hey, Carrillo doesn't show up to survive. Some journeymen do.
No, he does not.
You're either going or he's going.
Right.
I kind of prefer that, though, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, big hook over the top from the southpaw.
Good exchange.
You called it, Chris. It's a good hook from that southpaw stance. A lot of southpaw fighters don't.
I saw
it's
that.
just all straight lefts all the time.
I saw that right away when I watched him tape, and I was like, ooh, this guy's got some snap on that right hand, too.
That's it. Keep it set for 1, 2 shots max. Remember when you went for after.
Oh, another right hook.
Beautiful hook. Good timing on that, catching McCrory coming in.
Yeah, he understands what being a southpaw is and being able to throw that hook over. And yeah, he punches with you. He's a really dangerous guy.
Carrillo hanging around with his hands down. Again, he's having a good time in there, like we said before. But it makes him a little bit trickier. It makes him a little bit sneaky. Because he can shoot these shots, which, again, we see he's a puncher from awkward angles.
You can't just rush him. You got to respect that power.
So McCrory has a lot to think about. Especially that he's felt the power already.
Yeah, he's got to stay more bladed, try and stay invisible to that weak side, because he's staying right in line for that left hand. When Carrillo throws that thing straight, it lands.
A little shimmy from Carrillo.
Oh!
Nice hook over the top. Complaining to the ref. That was a legal shot.
That was a hard shot.
Not just legal, but a good one.
McCrory's corner needs to be careful. He can't get up on the apron like that.
If they do, they'll think you're stopping the fight, and
Yeah.
they will.
Yeah, we're in Belfast, though, guys. I'm not sure they'll do that. We're in the hometown. That would be crazy if you disqualify the hometown guy. Oh, big shot there by Carrillo. McCrory just makes a miss. But you see again the intent on both guys when they throw these big shots, guys.
It has been all action so far in our main event as we get ready for round number 4. Power punching of Leonard Carrillo on display in the first couple rounds, but McCrory has hung tough, and now deep rest in the corner from the fighter from Colombia.
Corners,
Yeah, for all the action that was lacking in our co-main event has been made up for in this fight, even in just these first couple rounds. These guys are throwing bombs back and forth. Absolute shootout between both of these guys, and both of them are punchers.
See the power punches from McCrory at the end of the last round. Oh,
good body shot.
Done a lot of complaining to the ref. It's not going to help you.
It seems like every time he gets hit with a good shot, Carrillo complains to the ref.
McCrory coming off the first loss of his career to Edgar Berlanga. Knocked out in that fight, so wasn't quite ready for that moment. He seems ready for this one.
Yeah, he's staying switched on because he's got such a dangerous guy in front of him. He got hurt by him early, got dropped.
It's kind of made McCrory defensively sound.
Yeah,
he respects the power.
Carrillo's a bit wide with his shots, so McCrory does see them coming, and he's able to he's become defensively more aware and smart. Less aggressive offensively, but defensively more aware and smart. I think it was a necessary adjustment from McCrory.
Hometown kid got the chance behind him.
You feel the energy here in the SSE Arena, Dublin, Ireland. Hometown of Paddy McCrory.
Oh.
Carrillo has ended 16 of his 17 wins by knockout.
Doesn't have the same snap he had a few rounds ago, though. Throw a lot of
bad rabbit punches.
I think Carrillo's getting to the point where he doesn't care. He doesn't understand what he's saying anyway.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you're always on the road. You've probably been dealt a few tough losses, tough referees, unfair referees, unfair judges. Not to say anything's unfair here, but it's the guy who doesn't care anymore. He's like,
I've been on the road
everywhere.
Of authority. Let's put it that way.
It's also a guy.
Skeptical authority.
What I like about him, though, he's a guy who'll go out on a shield, too.
Yeah.
Like, he's starting to get tired. He's still winging shots.
But he's also not worried about getting disqualified either. That's the only thing. He's doing what he just did.
Like to see some feints from McCrory here. When you got a tired guy, and especially who's only throwing big shots, a couple feints, you get him a bite on that. Leaves a lot of openings.
Nice left hand by McCrory. The Colombian trying to get back the swagger he had in round number 2, where he was controlling this fight. This guy just flings wrecking balls. It's all he does.
He leaves you a lot of space to counter, though. He throws a lot of wide shots. You can catch and shoot. You can punch in between them.
You're actually better off not breaking position on him because if you back out straight and his long arms catch you.
But sometimes I feel like McCrory started to play a little bit too safe defensively. Because when Carrillo throws those shots, they're wide. He catches them. He makes them miss, but he doesn't make them pay a lot.
As our own Teddy Atlas would say, a lot of fat on those punches.
Yes.
A lot of fat. A lot of fat needs to be trimmed.
Yeah.
A lot of protein, too, though, because he's got power.
Bro, you get hit with that. It is going to be tough. But Patrick McCrory seems to have taken control back. It looked like in round number 2, Carrillo feeling good about his power punches. As we begin round number 5, it looks like McCrory has settled down. He's gotten over the surprise of, oh my God, this guy came to win and he can hit.
Yeah, and also you can see the fatigue is starting to set in with Carrillo. He's not punching with the same kind of velocity, and that same power. It doesn't have the same pop.
Some of the action from the last round.
I think this might be the rabbit punches, yeah. I don't think he cared anymore.
Corners 10 seconds.
Those are pretty flagrant.
Yeah, that was 3 repeated rabbit punches behind the head.
Second sight, round 5.
I remember asking my dad when I was a little kid, why do they call him that? He goes, because that's how you kill a rabbit. When your dad's a hillbilly, that's the stuff you learn. Round number 5 of 10. Patrick McCrory, gray, black, and orange trunks. Carrillo in the red and black. He was stunned in round number 1, but Carrillo was knocked down in round number 1. That was the trade-off. Carrillo threw a wide left hand, ended up down, and then ended up stunning McCrory at the end of the round. Yep, still showboating.
I tell you, Carrillo's capable. He's in there. He plays around, but he's dangerous. He can punch. He doesn't always go for it every second of the round, but when he goes for it, he becomes dangerous, and he also knows how to defend himself a little bit.
This is why I like seeing guys at weigh-ins, because I could see all of this on him. His attitude, where he, how relaxed he is.
He was cutting his throat at the weigh-in. That's what he was going to do to basically he came to win.
Yeah, definitely did not come here to be an opponent, as we say. Came out here to win, but hasn't had the energy in these last couple rounds.
Oh, good left hook over the top from Pauty.
Keep it high. Keep it high. That's it. That's it.
Some serious McCrory fans behind us. You're hearing the chants. Of course, the fighter from Belfast is going to have the hometown crowd, but he's got to watch out for that lead right hand. It's one of Carrillo's best punches. Oh, nice sneaky uppercut.
That's what I'm saying. He's very capable. He sets up the way he found that shot, created the angle for it.
Carrillo has not had the steam on his punches since round number 2. They've been there.
Yeah.
He's landed a couple of them, but he was throwing haymakers early on, and looks like that energy has gone way down.
Also, Padraig has also controlled the distance much better as well. McCrory has controlled range, and Carrillo's not able to get into range to even let go of those kind of shots.
Good right hand over the top, though.
Yeah, Padraig needs to be careful, though, with those counters. He gets a little tall, and he's falling off balance and able to get countered on his counter.
Oh, good shots to close the round from Carrillo.
After the hooks by Padraig.
That was a late shot.
Welcome back into Belfast, Ireland, SSE Arena. Fighter from Colombia, you are in his corner. Leonard Carrillo has success with his big punches early in the fight. Had some trouble staying consistent later. You see him breathing very
Corners,
heavily.
10 seconds.
And here's why.
Yeah, some big shots at the end of the round. Padraig started it off, but Carrillo came back with some shots of his own.
Second sight.
But more and more,
Round
you're
6.
seeing the fatigue starting to set in with the fighter from Colombia.
It's one of those things where he's not a jab and move kind of guy. He doesn't have the style to get his energy back. He's throwing heavy punches the whole time.
Yeah, it's the only time he's effective. Got a pretty solid chin, though, because he's been hit with some big left hooks from Padraig. Good straight right hand right there. Good body work.
Neither guy has done a footwork special, huh? That looked like a close.
Well, but also sometimes McCrory's also turning his head the other way.
Yeah.
You gotta,
the rule is you can't target the back of the head. If he throws the punch and you move, that is your problem.
And he does throw very looping shots.
Yeah.
Oh. Big overhand right there from McCrory. Backs up Carrillo. Nice jab. I would like to see that from McCrory. Yeah, more of that. More jabbing, more just touching him. You don't have to load up on every shot. That's what he's doing. You get dragged into a firefight with a guy who can punch. You make it a one-on-one.
Yeah, you're making it a coin flip fight.
Exactly.
and McCrory's been the busier guy, but he's not done the little subtle things either that he could be doing offensively. Defensively, I feel like he has, tucking his chin and rolling and stuff like that, especially after he got hurt. But offensively, there's probably little subtle things that McCrory could be doing to make life more difficult for Carrillo.
Another rabbit punch. It might be a point taken at this point. No, another warning.
The ref's being patient. Let's see.
Very patient. Especially considering the McCrory, a hometown hero from here in Belfast, Northern Ireland.
I got to the point where Carrillo doesn't seem like he cares much, though.
No.
Even if a disqualification might happen. Let's see. Right now we're far from that. He still hasn't even had a point.
He hasn't even had a point deducted yet.
But he's starting to foul a bit recklessly.
You know what's coming?
Does a fatigued Leonard Carrillo, training in Spain, have enough left to keep landing those power shots against Carrillo? Who's starting to walk him down. Against McCrory, trying to walk him down.
And McCrory, with that mental pressure, I think it also starts to fatigue Carrillo more, McCrory's not throwing in a lot of numbers, but he is starting to consistently back up Carrillo now.
Yeah, it's physically right in front of him.
Been landing some body shots and jabs as well. Kind of chipping away slowly at Carrillo as his fatigue sets in. Good body shot again.
Good whip and snap on that. Was right above us.
It has been an incredible fight so far as we begin round number 7, scheduled for 10. The heavy-hitting Leonard Carrillo from Colombia versus the hometown hero Padraig McCrory, and a lot of fatigue on the face.
Corners, 10 seconds.
Of Leonard Carrillo. He's come here to win, that is true.
Round 7.
He's mentally still in this fight, but the fatigue level turned up in the last couple rounds by McCrory.
You can see the body language of McCrory here is coming out a little different this round. Trying to pin Carrillo in the ropes.
Good left hook counter. McCrory 6 KOs in his 23 wins, not known as a knockout puncher, physically very strong. Not known as a knockout guy.
He's stepping on the foot of Carrillo, you see that? Little tricks there. Now Carrillo's actually pointing to his foot saying, yeah, step right here.
Carrillo's been showboating throughout this fight.
That was a good move. Step on my foot so I can hit you.
See, again, McCrory also not doing a lot of the offensive subtle things either. He waits a lot as well. Oh, big shot there by Carrillo down the middle.
Yep.
I think McCrory started anticipating the wider shots from Carrillo, and Carrillo switched it up and went down the middle. Good cross.
Carrillo knocked down in round number 1. Right after that, he rocked McCrory, but did not get a knockdown himself.
Yeah, McCrory took that left cross a few seconds ago much better.
Yeah, he did. No, that was a good one. Oh, good check hook from McCrory over the top, catches Carrillo on the way in. That's the thing with a guy like Carrillo. You gotta set traps because you know he's coming with big wide shots. Step in, step out, and catch him. Good shot from Carrillo. Right hook. Shows the crowd that he landed it. Oop.
So far, the mind games of Carrillo haven't really affected McCrory.
Yeah, McCrory's been pretty good at staying switched on.
Very composed.
Yep.
I wondered how mentally he would approach this fight. Coming off the first loss of his career to Edgar Berlanga. So far, mentally, he's looked very, very good, but he's put the mental pressure on Carrillo, stepping on his foot again.
Yeah, you know, Jimmy, we spoke about that in the open. I forgot about that. I don't think it's been an issue at all. I think mentally, I think McCrory's been strong.
So far, he's been 100%.
You know, talking about the pressers this week, you know, you could tell he understood what it's like to be fighting at home, coming off a loss.
Called a slip. Referee called it a slip. Seems to be caused by a punch, but
yeah, but I think it was more forearm.
Yeah,
I think it was over. I don't think the punch line. A good shot there by Carrillo.
Carrillo looking to make a statement.
Another one.
10 seconds.
Sorry, these straight crosses are throwing McCrory off because Carrillo always throws wide.
It's been an entertaining fight each round. Don't know exactly what to expect. 3 rounds left to go in this, our main event of the evening. Colombia versus Ireland. Crowd has been rocking for the Belfast boy, Paddy McCrory. But ton of action from start to finish.
Yeah, we saw Carrillo come back a little bit that round, landed some nice straight left hands. He's been throwing all wide since those first couple rounds. Then he went through some straight ones, had some good success. There we saw Paddy with the good counter check hook over the top. There was a slip, a shot over the shoulder.
Corners, 10 seconds.
Who has the gas, the guts, and the determination for the last 3 rounds? That is the question here.
Seconds out. Round 8.
If you thought Carrillo would be intimidated by the crowd in the moment, he has not been. If you thought McCrory would still be in the dumps after his knockout loss to Berlanga, that hasn't been true either.
Carrillo coming out making a stand here.
And this is a guy, when He doesn't win by knockout, and he gets knocked out quite a bit himself. 3 of 5 by knockout.
He's shown a solid chin, though. I mean, he had a little flash knockdown early on from a nice counter hook from Padraig, but since then, he's been taking some big shots to the chin and the body.
He's complaining that was low. Referee did not see it.
Yeah, it was on the opposite side.
Yep.
Ooh. You're trying to get aggressive again here around 8.
And having success. He's landing some left hands, although somewhat glancing. We got a cut over the left eye of McCrory now.
Apparently from a punch. Referee hasn't signaled otherwise. It is starting to bleed.
It's motivating McCrory. It's motivating Carrillo, I mean.
Does he have the energy to follow up? This is where the man who's been taking the punches can turn things around. Carrillo punched himself out a bit in that corner.
Yeah, McCrory punched himself out of that corner, pushing back now on Carrillo.
Halfway through the round.
I should say fought himself out of that corner.
He did.
Big breaths from Carrillo as he circles away. Mouth open wide.
See the blood streaming down the face of McCrory.
Yep.
As he stalks Carrillo now.
And that's what he's doing, but the problem, of course, is he hasn't really been able to punch his way back into the round. He's taking the physical space. He's taking the real estate.
Yeah, he's not jabbing.
Hasn't landed a lot of effective punches. Under a minute left to go in round 8. So far, it's been Carrillo's round.
Pushing back.
And sometimes that's the one thing about McCrory. He offensively forgets those subtle nuances.
It's a bit one-dimensional.
Oh. Another big left hand from Carrillo as he has McCrory pinned against the ropes.
This is where Carrillo's had success.
Yeah, Carrillo's had himself a pretty good round.
He started fast, and he's kept up pretty good. Kept McCrory on the ropes for the majority of this round.
Good shot there by McCrory, guys.
Back comes the hammer. Big right hand.
Toward the end of round number 8, and big punches and a cut on the face of Ireland's favorite son right now.
That's why she would have seen that. I was like, can I hit the time?
Welcome back inside SSE Arena. 2 rounds to go, and what has been an action-packed, entertaining fight with a lot of tension. The last round, a great one for Carrillo. Had to do with the work in the corner.
10 seconds.
Yeah. Again, that
was what caused a cut.
Those straight left. Oh, that's what caused a cut. Yeah, good cut.
Second take. Round 9.
Sometimes the truck did a good job there with catching that shot.
Yeah,
good punch.
And I feel like those, again, it's those straight left crosses. Sometimes McCrory was starting to get into the pattern of seeing them wide with the left hand, and that straight left crosses have been surprising McCrory at times in the last few rounds.
Fight very up in the air. It's been close. Don't know who's ahead right now. I would say probably McCrory. But Carrillo has looked good in certain rounds for sure.
Both men have been hurt.
Yep.
A lot of big shots thrown back and forth. Oh, another big shot.
They're still throwing big shots, both guys.
I don't think Carrillo knows how to throw anything else.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of jabs from the guy. They've been big punches throughout, lefts and rights. From the southpaw stance, right hook over the top.
For a guy with just 6 knockouts and 23 wins, he's looked for a lot more power and less of the subtle stuff, like I said earlier.
Oh,
that hurt.
That hurt him.
Stiffened him up a little bit.
Can Carrillo take advantage now? He tried to swarm in the last round, ended up kind of punching himself out. Oh, nice jab.
You see there?
Yeah, good defense.
So that's
by
what I'm
McCrory.
saying. Those are the subtle things that I feel like I should see more from McCrory.
Good body shot. He's picking his spots really well here. McCrory fighting off the ropes. That was low.
Catch and shoot there by McCrory.
No admonishment from the referee. Doing it on the other side.
Letting the men fight.
All right. He's letting them go. Now the ref is on the other side now to see if he can catch those shots.
But even when the referee is admonishing, he doesn't understand them anyway.
Right.
And he doesn't seem to care either way.
No.
Oh, good right hand from McCrory.
Carrillo went straight back off out of that clinch and out of that close range fighting, I'm saying, and McCrory is able to catch him. Can't go straight back so carelessly.
Man, McCrory has stayed so calm tonight, even when he's getting hurt with big shots.
That's something you take out of the Berlanga fight, right?
Yeah, true. Definitely some veteran poise for the fighter from Belfast. Crowd chanting as the SEC arena is rocking.
Nice step around there from Padraig. I like stuff like that. Don't just get into a clinch, step around, get back to the center. Oh, good level change with a right hand upstairs.
Yeah, Carrillo too careless, too lax coming forward with his hands down.
This is where Carrillo had success in the last round, in that exact corner. Good left hand over the top. Just 10 seconds left in the penultimate round. Oof. Good finish for the fighter from Colombia.
Oh, shots there.
Big shots.
Ref's had his hands full with Carrillo tonight.
He has.
Between the language barrier and
the fact he just doesn't care.
What is the text message? IDGAF?
Yeah, exactly.
Between the language barrier and the IDGAF, by Carrillo hits.
I think the referee's getting the message. He doesn't care. I think we understand what's going on in this 10th and final round. Carrillo's not worried about getting disqualified.
Man, the way this fight started out, I can't believe we're in the 10th round.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
We weren't here for it. Carrillo knocked down in round number 1, but it was McCrory who was hurt in round number 1. Get ready for a very interesting 3 minutes, ladies and gentlemen.
Corners, 10 seconds.
You got a good round.
Left hand. That was where Padraig got hurt, right?
Yeah, it was a looping shot on top of the head. You saw the legs kind of buckle a little bit from Padraig, but then he came back. Party landed some good right hands himself. Real sharp stuff from McCrory in that round, but more of that slugging from Carrillo. There it is again.
It's all he knows how to do, the fighter from Colombia.
He's going for it.
He's going for it. He has the power to finish this in the 10th round.
Oh, good counter there.
Big. That's what I mean. The sharp stuff from McCrory.
Yeah, when he has those sharpshooter moments, he has a lot of success.
Yeah.
Headbutt, clash of heads there.
Looked like that was on that eye that's already damaged.
Now some damage with the left eye, caused by a punch.
Nice move there by McCrory. Alert defense, alertness, knowing where he's at and spinning Carrillo around there.
I mean, if you like big power punches, you love this fight. These guys are just loading up.
Carrillo trying to get McCrory in the corner. We can land those big shots. He's been the stalker in this 10th and final round. There's been just enough of that to get Carrillo's respect from McCrory.
I feel like the way Carrillo is tired right now with no head movement, he wouldn't be able to move his head. If McCrory can make his life easier, just jab him. Yeah. He could, if he just shot some snappy jabs, I don't think he would miss Carrillo. So he's kind of pushing that one out there with some emphasis.
Every once in a blue, you do see McCrory come with some snappy shots, but not with any kind of regularity or consistency.
Yeah, he's too focused on looking for a big one. Big shot.
He needs to keep his back off those ropes. He keeps eating left hands when he goes there.
Again, he goes up a little bit high at times on the ropes. And Carrillo's been able to be successful when he's throwing that left hand straight.
Carrillo wants some distance here. About a minute left in round number 10. Another good straight left. Nice right hand.
Carrillo shows up. He puts in his work.
Yeah, he's earned his paycheck tonight.
Yeah, he's in round 10. He's still shooting those big shots.
And landing.
They're getting through the guard of McCrory. He is firing back.
These last few rounds, he's had some good rounds.
Oh, nice straight, short shot down the middle. He's a dangerous guy if you let him get confident, man. He really has shown his skill.
This guy could be a little closer. I mean, I don't know because Carrillo is the outsider visiting, but I mean,
this is a
few
close
rounds
fight.
themselves have been, you know, Carrillo's made a case to win all 3 of them. And then
To a neutral observer, this has been a close fight. Remember the knockdown in round number 1. That could be the difference.
Body is limping to the finish line here, man.
Yeah, really. Taking a lot of damage.
Still on his feet.
Oh, geez, get off the
Carrillo
ropes.
trying to get the knockdown.
He looks really hurt.
And that is the end of round number 10 and the fight. Paulie, I agree with you. To a neutral observer, this is a close fight.
Yeah.
But this is a guy who came from Spain.
If Carrillo, you give him the last 3 rounds, are those
Easily.
the only rounds he won? I don't know. I think there was some early rounds that you could also possibly make a case for him. We'll see. There is a 10-8 round in the first round for McCrory as well with the knockdown.
Yeah, knockdown in round number 1.
Maybe it could be a difference.
Yeah.
For Fortuna, it was not enough. For McCrory, it may be the difference. Let's see.
This is a man who had no hesitation throwing power shots from start to finish. In that last round, he had McCrory once again in trouble. Not able to get a knockdown on the cards, but certainly had the Irishman in trouble.
Rock took a lot of damage, spent way too much time on the ropes, especially in the corner. Carrillo was tricky enough to thread the needle with those left hands and land a lot of heavy shots at the end there.
McCrory was acting like he just needed to finish the fight standing to win.
Yeah,
I think that was a good decision.
No, because number 1, you're taking way too much damage. Listen, you don't want to take these punches home, and he did.
Looks like we might have the scorecards tabulated now. Waiting on the judges to get it together. And his coach just came up to us saying it was fun in Belfast. Yes, it was. Action-packed fight. They're in the ring right now, showing one another respect. It was a very tough fight. No matter who you thought won, Carrillo didn't come in here to lose.
It was a fun fight.
Yeah.
You know, again, I'm overusing the word shootout, but it certainly lived up to that. Just didn't expect it to go full 10 rounds. And that minus 5,000 sounds insane right now.
It's totally ridiculous.
Are we good?
And now, ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds, tell these fighters what you thought of this fight. The referee, Hugh Russell Jr., has scored this bout, and he finds it 98-91 in favor of your winner, Padraig the Hammer McCrory.
Once again, seems closer than 98-91.
Well, the referee was the judge right here. That's why. So I don't know if the referee liked Carrillo too much. He might
certainly didn't like his work in there.
I think he took a couple of these things really personally.
He's like, you know what? I'm not going to take any points from you. I'm just not going to give you rounds that you won either. which is worse than not taking points.
Once again, I have no problem with Paddy McCrory winning the fight. It's just we've seen some skewed scorecards tonight. They don't seem to make a lot of sense.
No. Man, but I don't think he no.
So what does that mean?
Knowing
the
ref,
rounds?
Yeah, knowing the ref is the judge, you don't want to get on his bad side.
Yeah, true.
You know?
Absolutely. Paulie, when you look at the scorecards, forget 98-91 for sure. The fact is, Carrillo came to win. He threw big punches. He had McCrory hurt several times, but it seemed like McCrory had the savvy to stay in it and win enough rounds. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, and also, you know, there were moments where he was coming forward. Even if he wasn't, I felt like he should have done a little bit more of the subtle things. He didn't do enough of the subtle things, and he felt like getting into a bit of a shootout with a puncher. It worked out for him, but honestly, it could be dangerous tactics.
Right.
Also, I did like the fact that he had showed a lot of recovery skills in the Berlanga fight that was missing. Maybe it's something he took out of the Berlanga fight. You know, he was undefeated before that, right? So, so he comes into the Berlanga fight never having lost, never really having prepared for being hurt. Gets hurt there, loses the fight here. He got hurt in this fight. He knew how to weather the storm like a true vet.
Able to stick with his jab, look good at 175 pounds. Remember, the Berlanga fight at 168. But a big physical fighter. Don't forget, November 9th, Nicholas Flaz versus Christian Gomez is our main event. Kissimmee, Florida. Also the return of Jojo Diaz. And by return, I don't just mean return to boxing. I mean a return from addiction, from what he called rock bottom. He'll be coming back Saturday, November 9th. It's been a great night of action here in Belfast, Ireland. The crowd has been absolutely fantastic, as we have expected. The Irish fighters showed up ready to go. It was entertaining from the opening bell for everybody here in Ireland. It has been showing us so much hospitality. All the people behind the scenes at ProBox TV for our first international trip. We want to say thank you so much, and we'll see you next time on ProBox TV.